Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, November 3rd, 2023. As you're listening to this, the day after the 1 year anniversary of Second and Short. I am so glad that we're here now, but unfortunately, there's bigger things to talk about. The Texas Rangers have won the World Series. They win it 4-1, and for the first time in franchise history, they take home the trophy. Lots to talk about with that. We'll get into that later, but we've also got the NFL trade deadline to talk about, NFL Week 9, of course. Then we'll talk about the World Series, some Premier League matchups this weekend that are pretty solid, and then we'll talk about Matchday 4 in the UCL and questions time after that. But, Luke, let's go ahead and just, kind of talk about Second and Short. And I know I haven't really done this before, at least on the podcast. So I guess I'll start with kind of the background of how this whole thing started. Just kind of out of the blue. It is the quintessential two friends hanging out, late night conversation. You're like, dude, we should start a podcast. Like me and Brock sitting in our friend's backyard by the fire, just like, dude, we're the only two, like, still going. It's like 2 a.m.
Sober.
And we're like, dude, we should start a podcast. Kind of just as a joke, of course. As everybody says jokingly, we should start a podcast. And then I, kind of started taking it seriously when in one of my classes I found out that I had access to all the Adobe, stuff. So, I was messing around with Adobe Audition and Premiere and just fooling around in there. And I was like, you know what? This could be a good way to use these resources and maybe start a podcast, for real. So me and Brock kind of talked about it a little bit, and he was like, yeah, I could at least do one once a week. And so Prime Day came around for some reason. That's a big part of this. And there was a pretty good deal on a Yeti Nano microphone, so I ordered that, and then I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. So I just I taught myself how to use Adobe Illustrator, and I made the first logo. I made some graphics, I made a thumbnail, everything like that, and we just recorded an episode, and it was so much fun. I've because it was just me and Brock. At least he went to Ole Miss. I kind of stayed in the area, and we would just talk on the phone every now and then, and he'd be like, dude, can you believe what just happened in college football? Can you believe these college football playoff rankings, things like that? And I was like, why don't we record these conversations? So that's kind of what this podcast started out as. This is us recording these conversations, just having fun, kind of just catching up. It was essentially exactly what we did every time we hung out in person, but over Discord. And yeah, it's kind of how it started. And then I knew that Luke was, a huge sports fan. Me and him worked together, so we had always talked sports. Whenever we worked together, we would just spend hours talking about sports, talking about soccer, football,
Really,
literally
what
everything.
brought us together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our friendship was kind of obviously we're more than just sports, buddies now, but yeah, when we started working with each other, that's how we hit it off. And that's how a lot of people hit it off. It's kind of the beautiful thing about sports, I guess.
It is. Yeah. It definitely created a lifelong friendship just through sports. And I was like, okay, well, Luke came home for the winter after his semester, and I was like, hey, I know you're doing the journalism stuff. Do you want to get in on this podcast? Because he had talked to me about how much he enjoyed listening to it, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll do Brock once a week, and me and you'll do one once a week, and it just kind of, hit the road from there. Brock, unfortunately, wasn't able to kind of keep up with it. He's super busy with his job and with school. So I totally understood that. And I think that's always been an understanding throughout this is school is 10 times more important than this. Jobs are way more important than this. That's cool. This needs to be kind of the last priority for most people. and it still got us here. One year in, whether I have the time or not, I find it. Staying up late nights, spending hours collecting news and writing prep sheets and making graphics and making TikToks, which I don't do enough. I'm well aware of, but um, yeah, it's brought us this far, and the show means a lot to me because, like as I
Yeah.
said, like it was a way for me and Brock to kind of catch up with each other and essentially hang out over Zoom, or over Discord, but it also turned into me and Luke being able to stay in steady contact while he's been away. And then Colin, I bring him on as a guest host a couple of times, and he killed it. And I was like, well, he was kind of always like, if Brock or Luke can't record this week, Colin's the first guy to talk to because he always brings the energy. He knows what he's talking about. We have similar interests. Like we've known each other since I think almost 15 years now. Like we have a chemistry when it comes to talking with each other, especially about sports. So it was kind of a no brainer to bring him in, and you know Nathan has guest hosted on I think 2 episodes. Obviously Nathan's my brother, and Mike has made appearances on this podcast, which I never would have thought of until I started this thing. Like he was super entertaining, breaking down my mock draft for an episode, coming on during the NFL draft. We had Jalen come on during the NFL draft, who's a mutual friend of ours and a former college football player himself. So, yeah, it's been honestly just a dream come true to do this podcast. We're not making money off of this. We're not, changing lives with this podcast or anything, but every single time that I see that there's a download, like if somebody listens to a second of this podcast, it makes my day every single time without fail. And that just goes to the viewers and the people that enjoy listening to this, enjoy listening to us make ridiculous jokes about some random BS that we come up with. If it's, if you enjoy coming on here and listening to me and Colin get mad at our college football teams, or Luke get pissed off at the Steelers, um, whatever it is that makes you enjoy this podcast, whatever it is about it that brings people back and is going to continue to bring people in, whatever it is, I'm glad we can supply that to you, and I'm glad that this is the place that you found for it. So kind of just moving forward, like I would love to do this forever. That's kind of I would love for this to be a career. At the moment, that's not feasible, but it's always an idea, and there's ways that things could change. So um, it's kind of not just up to the viewers and people listening, but it's up to us as well. Keeping up our end of the deal. I certainly want to get much better about my schedule and posting things and editing and all that, and being able to put clips out. But life gets in the way of a lot of those things, and this can't be a priority at the moment. Which I think a lot of people can understand. But yeah, just kind of looking forward, I'd love to expand this to more. I'd love to bring people in that want to do an NBA show or just basketball in general. I would love to have just a casual podcast where people just come on here to talk. Like it doesn't have to be under the Second and Short podcast, but could certainly be under our brand, as we continue to build. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts looking forward. But, for now, we're going to just continue making content and continue putting out podcasts, because it doesn't matter how many people listen to these. Every single time we finish an episode, we're like, damn, that was fun. Every single
Yeah.
time. It's always like, man, that was a good episode. And it's like, oh, well, all of them have been that way. Whether anybody enjoys listening to it or not, we have a fun time here, and that's kind of what it's all about right now. So, yeah, that's kind of my spiel. But Luke, what would you like to say? Considering you've been here just about the entire time, I think you missed maybe the first month and a half.
Yeah, yeah. I I came in December. Not I kind of like when it got started by you and Brock. I kind of I don't know. I promoted it out of like the want out of well, first the fact that I thought it was cool that you, my friend, was doing something like that, and then also out of the fact like hey, this is also like my kind of career too. Which shout out to Nathan for like kind of pushing you to bring me on, but I couldn't be more grateful. This is I definitely wanted to be a part of it as soon as I heard the first episode with you and Brock. And yeah, it was awesome being brought on in December. I'll never forget driving home from Athens. Made the 2 hour drive back home. Went to the gym, came back and took notes for the first time. I had a Christmas like the fireplace, like the 3 hour Christmas long
Yeah.
or playlist, with the fireplace on. And I think we were also it was a Thursday, and I think it was maybe like the Cardinals and the Seahawks that were playing
No
during our first
idea.
episode. I don't know, but anyway, just a great time. The emotion was high. Coming home from us for winter break, and Christmas was soon, and I got to record my first episode, and then it's always been so much fun to do this,
Yeah.
and like even taking notes before, it's interesting to pick up on things that I missed, and just interesting topics that I can't wait to get your opinion on. And yeah, I couldn't be more happier with the direction that it's going in. This has been so much fun. Thank you to the viewers for listening. I mean, we're a year in, Grayson.
Yeah.
That really puts it into perspective.
It
It does
does.
not feel like it's a year, but
Yeah.
couldn't be more grateful for this. I love doing this with you, man. It's been a real blessing.
Yeah. Like, so many moments already. Like, yeah, we have, some TikToks that did well and whatever, and some good episodes, some episodes that performed really well, but like the way that Luke's first episode went was great. The way that Colin's first episode is kind of like a full-time guy on the podcast went. I even forget that we did this sometimes. The Georgia National Championship video. Shout out Connor. Connor has
Oh my
been
god.
with me through this whole thing, always motivating me, giving me tips on videos and making the TikToks and everything. So I have the utmost appreciation for what Connor Fisher has done for just this podcast and for me in general.
Yeah, no, that episode was a lot of fun when you got to come to Athens and
Yeah.
hang out. And also the draft night, like
Yeah.
just for that being the first time we ever did an episode of that type, it could not have gone like more smoothly with
Yeah.
like the way that people were like coming in and leaving, and like you and I were like kind of the host of it, and we had like the guests come in.
Yeah.
It seriously could not have been more fun. And I mean, you and I sat in our chairs for an entire draft and talked about it.
Yeah. 3.5 hours, I think.
Yeah, like going into it, like I felt like I was kind of nervous because I was like, what the fuck are we even going to talk about?
Yeah.
Like, obviously the draft, but are we ever going to run out of things to talk about? And
No.
we absolutely did not. In
Yeah.
fact, we probably could have had guests stay longer.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like they were leaving too soon almost. And
Yeah.
it
Colin
was
did not want to leave.
no, Colin was hanging out. But and just like I don't know, all the guest stars just did such an amazing
Yeah.
job, bringing the vibes in, and like yeah, the draft episode and the actual in person episode, which we need to do fucking more of those. By the way, those are so much fun to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, those two episodes for sure are my highlights of being a part of Second and Short, and my first one.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think for now, that's kind of it. Our 100th episode happens to line up pretty perfectly with this. That'll be recorded on Sunday with me and Colin. I'll let Colin run through some of his favorite moments because he's, definitely been along for the ride. I know he's been
That's the
supporting since the start, but, the first ever guest host, and then now becoming a full-time host, has been great. I couldn't ask for anything better from like I said, a guy that I've been best friends with since I was 5-6 years old. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll go through some more of this kind of stuff on Monday's episode. But for now, just thank you to everybody that listens. And we're looking forward to the future of this.
Yes. Happy 1 year, Grayson.
Thank you, man. Happy 1 year to you as well. But we can't forget about the sports. And let's start with the NFL trade deadline. It occurred on Tuesday, right? Tuesday afternoon.
Yes. Yeah, Tuesday, and it ended at 4 p.m.
Okay. And
Yeah.
just to kind of go through the moves, we'll start here. Seattle trades for defensive lineman Leonard Williams from the Giants for a 2024 second and a 2025 fifth.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about this one for Seattle. I feel like maybe this is a better trade if they're in a better position. I don't necessarily like them giving up draft picks, but Leonard Williams is sick, and I feel
I
like they could probably D line.
I think they're in a decent position to make a move like that. They're 5-2 right now, and which definitely seems weird. They don't seem like they should be 5-2, but they are. And I like the move. They need help in the pass rush. That secondary is getting way too much action. They need a lot of help up front. Leonard Williams certainly addresses that. I don't have a problem that much with the compensation. I think teams should probably be valuing second round picks in this upcoming draft because there's a lot of talent coming out. The first and the second round are going to be loaded with guys to pick up that are going to make immediate impacts in the NFL. So for the Giants, who are a team that needs draft picks, to go out and get a second round pick in this upcoming draft is probably going to be huge for that team.
Yeah, I like this trade a lot better for the Giants than I do the Seahawks.
Yeah, look, Leonard
really,
Williams was having a huge down year for the Giants. So I don't blame them at all for trading him off. They're already in a bad position. It doesn't look great for them. Why not give up a guy, get some more draft picks down the road?
yeah, I
But
get that.
the next move, the Falcons received defensive lineman Contavious Street in a 2025 seventh round from the Eagles for a 2024 sixth round pick. Obviously, this one is a depth move because Grady Jarrett tore his ACL. He's out for the season. Contavious Street's not horrible, but he's not going to be Grady Jarrett is kind of my thought there.
Yeah, really, it's just a shame that the Falcons even had to do this. In
Yeah.
general, I don't really like them even giving up a 6th round pick here, honestly. But I mean, it's a D lineman from the 49ers defense. He's got to have some kind of blueprint
Eagles.
there. You know what I'm saying? And maybe with, Calais Campbell getting up there in age 2, maybe that's also kind of what they're looking at as well.
Yeah, it definitely could be. But, I think this is more of a move of like the Eagles have wealth of defensive linemen. So I have no issues with them dealing one off. And for the Falcons, it's just about getting some bodies up front. You can't, there's not a lot of defensive linemen that are going to play every snap. So you need a little bit of depth there to, make things run smoothly. And this defense has been great up to this point. To lose Grady Jarrett and immediately find just even a fraction of a replacement for him is a great move by the Falcons.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at him now. He is a Georgia boy. He's from
Nice.
Douglas.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, maybe that kind of went into the move as well. And he's actually been in the league since 2018. He got drafted by the 49ers in the 4th round.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, we'll see how he plays in Atlanta. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure he'll definitely get reps with Grady
Yeah.
Jarrett being out. So I mean, who knows? Who knows what he's going to look like?
Yeah, we'll have to see. But the next move, pretty big. The Bears
Big.
trading for defensive end Montez Sweat from Washington for a 2024 second round pick. Why are the Bears trading for players?
Yeah, I don't know. They're, I guess, trying to build. I'm as lost as you are. Maybe they're just trying to build up the defense to compensate for the offense. I really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they've lacked a pass rusher really in Chicago since Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
I feel like they haven't really had like a steady guy. And Tremaine Edmonds did go down on Monday Night Football too. I'm not too sure what his injury ended up being, but
He's
I
questionable,
don't know. Maybe
I believe, at the moment.
okay. Maybe they're thinking kind of in that direction too. But I mean, Montez Sweat, he's a fantastic player,
Yeah.
and I may only a 2nd round draft pick too from Montez Sweat. I don't know. That's not too bad.
No,
Of a
not at
trade.
all.
Like for
I think that's solid value, especially like considering the Commanders kind of giving up, at least on the defensive line, where yeah, I know they haven't produced quite the numbers you're looking for, but you just franchise tagged Deron Payne. You gave him quite a bit of money, and then like you have Sweat and Young, which who we'll talk about later, but you have both of them on the ends, and it seems very good. Sometimes it's not the best. Young has definitely dealt with some injuries, but Montez Sweat has been consistently great for that team. And for them to trade him off is surprising, but like getting a 2024 second isn't the worst. There's a lot of changes coming to this franchise, anyways. Likely, Ron Rivera is going to get fired. I think that's almost certain by the end of the season. He gets fired. Bieniemy should probably be the coach in waiting. I at least think that should be the case. And you know, the new ownership, everything is going down for this team right now. So going out, getting draft picks, and what's potentially going to be a very talented draft, I have no problems with.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. Right there with you.
All right. Well, our next move is an interesting one. The Vikings trade for Josh Dobbs and a 2024 seventh rounder from the Cardinals for a 2024 sixth round pick. Obviously, this comes right after Kirk Cousins tears his Achilles. He's out for the rest of the season. So the Vikings want to stay in it, which means Justin Jefferson will probably return week 10, week 11. So, you know, next week, maybe the week after. We'll have to see how, you know, this week goes because there's really no telling if Josh Dobbs is going to be good. He's been pretty good for Arizona, but I wouldn't say like he's just going to slot right into this offense.
Yeah, maybe not. This offense definitely, as you and I both know, demands a lot more from the quarterback position than they were demanding in Arizona, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how Josh Dobbs is kind of the guy in Minnesota, or it'll be interesting to see if the Vikings try to use Alexander Mattison and Cam Akers more. I don't know what it's going to look like offensively for the Vikings going forward with this trade, but they basically gave up nothing for a serviceable quarterback who's going to be able to get you wins. So I think out of, you know, with Kyler Murray coming back too, I feel like this is probably one of the better win-win trades on this list.
I agree.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big.
But the next move, just a solid pickup. The Jaguars receive offensive lineman Ezra Cleveland from the Vikings for a 2024 sixth-round pick. I think the Jags just need offensive line help. They've looked good just about everywhere else. They're on a tremendous hot streak. And, you know, to continue this success, they got to address the offensive line, and that's what they did here.
Yeah, Ezra Cleveland for a sixth rounder is kind of a steal there, I would say, for Jacksonville. Kind of going in with their team needs too, not just Ezra Cleveland's skill. But yeah, he's going to help out big time. Like you said, that's kind of been one of their probably the biggest struggle offensively for them. They have the skill players, they have the quarterback. They just kind of need more offensive line power there. And yeah, this is, you know, when you start working on the O-line, it helps out literally everybody on the offense. So big move for Jacksonville here.
Yeah, I love it. But this move, ridiculous. Like,
this is so stupid.
The rich get richer. The 49ers. Ooh, okay. They have lost 3 games in a row. Maybe they needed this. But the 49ers receive defensive end Chase Young from the Commanders for a 2024 third-round pick.
Or a player who not only has been injured, but like, let's just be honest, who's also been kind of declining. Never been as good as his rookie season.
Yeah.
This is a big move for him. This is a career-saving move. He's going to play in meaningful football games. He's going to get some of the best coaching defensively that you can probably have in the NFL right now, being a part of that defense. And he's still young as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's like blockbuster. And, you know, on the other side, the Commanders have given up both their ends. So it's just Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne that are left there. And, you know, I guess, you know, to kind of go with what you were saying earlier, the Commanders are just kind of laying down defensively.
Yeah, they're going to have some good draft picks this year, which is nice. But
Yep.
yeah, I think
Exactly.
they
A
are kind
salary.
of giving it up.
Yeah, well, I think it could have been a salary thing as well.
Yo,
Just
yeah,
with
those are two guys that are nearing a point where they need an extension. I think Montez Sweat's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. I think Chase Young will be nearing that as well. I think his rookie contract ends after this year.
yeah,
So send them off to teams that maybe do have the payroll or at least need the guys right now. Save the money for re-signing them since they haven't put up maybe the desired statistics to warrant paying them, and just move forward. Which look, everybody's got to move on at some point from just about like 95% of the players that come through that team. You're gonna move on from, and I think that's just what the Commanders are doing.
Yep. But damn, the 49ers. Wow.
Yeah, they have the potential to have one of the most ridiculous pass rushes if they didn't already. Javon Hargrave,
Yeah.
Nick Bosa, Clelin Ferrell's been great this year. Like,
Eric
oh yeah,
Armstead.
Eric Armstead's fantastic. Then you add Chase Young opposite Joey Bosa. Choose a place to block. Choose
Yeah.
somebody to double team. It's insane.
Yeah.
It is
It's
actually
ridiculous.
insane. But let's get to the next move. Just a solid, not a huge pickup, but a solid pickup. The Lions receive wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones from Cleveland for a 2025 sixth-round draft pick. What a story for Donovan Peoples-Jones.
That's what I'm saying. I've always been kind of a rooter for him, even as a Steelers fan. Like I just thought he was like a very underrated, deep ball physical receiver.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that, the Lions haven't had since Kenny Galladay. What a name I just pulled there. He used to be so sick. But anyway, the Lions, I feel like, kind of rely more on their receivers getting open than they throw jump balls to people. Like
Yeah.
Amon-Ra, probably not your best catch in traffic receiver, but damn, is he like always open. And I feel like, Donovan Peoples-Jones, if they trust him, which I think they should, he adds a different element to their pass game that I think that they should start implementing now that they have him. And only for a sixth-rounder is pretty good.
Yeah, like Amon-Ra St. Brown is, of course, ridiculously good, insanely good at creating space for himself. And I think Jameson Williams definitely offers a bit of an air attack, option for them as well. But adding in a guy that not only is a solid deep ball receiver, but he's also a decent return man if you want him to return kicks. I know you have, Khalif Raymond for that as well, but in general, adding weapons to this Lions offense is never going to be a problem.
Yeah, never.
But the last move, and an interesting one, at least to the people on social media, the Bills receive cornerback Rasul Douglas and a 2024 fifth-round pick from Green Bay for a 2024 third-round pick. The reason people were talking about this is because Rasul Douglas just had some ridiculous clips with Josh Allen in past seasons. One of them where he hit the shit out of him and just started just standing over him, talking shit. And then Josh Allen, I believe, scored a touchdown while Rasul Douglas tried to tackle him. And they stand up and they're walking back. And Josh Allen is just like, "You're fucking shit." Or like, "You're fucking bad."
Yeah.
Which is
well, they're gonna have to get over
perfect. And but people were saying like that's just how both of these guys are. So I was watching the Pat McAfee show right before we started. They were talking about this move, and Pat was like, "These two guys are gonna be best friends."
Yeah.
Like that's how that's gonna go. They have a similar attitude when they're on the football field.
Yeah, and that's good when you're building a team. Is if everybody's on the same page, that that speaks volumes like the play on the field does. I mean, I guess this move is okay. I don't know why the Bills would really be pushing for like a giving up a third rounder for a corner. I feel like their secondary is already pretty ridiculous. Maybe this is a 2 move as well, but I mean, he'll slot in. He's a dog.
Yeah, he's been probably better than Jair Alexander this season. I know Jair's been a little beat up, but Rasul Douglas has been ridiculously good. Like Keyshawn Nixon said, like the entire locker room was surprised by this move of the Packers
Yep.
actually willing to give him up. But yeah, like I think they did. Yeah, so Khair Elam got put on the IR on Thursday today. He got put on the IR. So obviously this was a good move. They just lost a corner there. And then Tre'Davious White tore his Achilles a couple weeks ago.
There
So
you go.
they definitely needed help in the
Yeah.
secondary. That's all the trades that actually went down, which is kind of crazy. I think I'm so used to the MLB where there's just a long list of trades that happen at the trade deadline that
Yeah.
I am always like, wow, nothing really happened.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy because like I feel like this is actually more blockbuster than it was like 5 or 6 years ago
Yeah,
following the NFL. Like the NFL way more than than the NBA is just all the teams are so conservative of how they like keep their players and they don't trade them for like crazy trades and people don't go in the free agency and get signed on these
yeah,
ridiculous deals. Now that's kind of changing. But yeah, to your point, the NFL is still a little bit more conservative compared to some of the other leagues.
definitely. Other news before we get into NFL Week 9, the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels and GM Dave Ziegler right after the trade deadline, like the day of. They both sucked at their jobs, so
Yeah.
makes sense. Fun fact: the Raiders, I believe, between Gruden and Josh McDaniels, I believe they're still paying off. They'll be paying off both of them. I believe a total of $80 million to not coach for the Raiders.
And they got to find a new one.
Yeah, which I will say, I love their interim coach. I think his name's Antonio Pierce, maybe.
Kentucky sounds right.
Yeah, I saw his press conference. Dog, linebackers coach. Like, a guy is just an absolute locker room demon if he's a linebackers coach.
The Dan Campbells of the world.
Yes. Yeah. This guy definitely is on par with like the Dan Campbells and just those hard-nosed head coach guys that we're definitely going to see the interim head coach boost for the Raiders. As much as they suck.
I feel like that's what the Raiders need is they need a coach that they're going to want to play for.
Yeah.
I think there's an argument to be made, especially before the firing of Josh McDaniels and their GM, that they may be in a worse position than like the Patriots as far as like not only are they not a good team, but nobody, and especially your superstars and Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams do not want to play there anymore.
Yeah.
And I want to speak on Devontae Adams for a little bit because I don't understand why people are feeling so bad for him. And here's why. I understand what he's dealt with since he came to Vegas. He lost his college quarterback immediately. Like pretty much only played a season with him. I think the Raiders were his favorite team growing up. So it all looked really good for Devontae Adams, but everybody forgets that it was his choice and it happened very suddenly to leave the Packers, where he had not only an organization who wanted him, but a quarterback who wanted him, regardless of, who he played with in college. And Aaron Rodgers is a California guy too. And I don't know. Like, I just don't understand the pity that he's getting because I'm looking a little bit, I guess, further back in the past than everybody's looking at. Don't get me wrong. A league where Devontae Adams is playing sick is more fun to watch. I love him as a receiver. But do I feel bad for him? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
All right. Yeah. And my biggest thing is that we heard the Raiders come out and say, we're not trading him no matter what he wants, which both of the guys that could have made that decision got fired, so that makes sense. But also, they got calls from the Jets for Devontae Adams on the trade deadline.
Yeah.
They got calls. Woody Johnson picked up the phone and said, hey, looks like Rodgers is going to be back at the end of the year. Can we get his wide receiver back?
Is that
And
actually what you said?
no,
I was about to say, because that would have been sick.
I'm not wired. I'm not tapping the Jets' phones, but
Oh my
probably something
goodness.
to that effect. And I'm
Yeah.
sure Dave Ziegler picked up the phone. He was like, "No, not my team. Not anymore."
You'll have to talk to the next one.
But like, they got calls. Another move that almost changed. The Falcons had a deal lined up for Montez Sweat, and the Bears just came in late with a second-round pick, and they couldn't turn it down.
Yeah, I get
Sucks.
that.
I would have loved to have
The
Montez Sweat.
Steelers. Uh, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. The Steelers were about to trade for one of the Bears cornerbacks. He's a young guy. Is it Jalen? Ah, fuck. Hang on. Jalen Johnson.
Yeah,
And of course, the Steelers being the Steelers, nothing happened. I'm sure, we were like, we'll give you a fifth round pick for this very solid player. Your cornerback one, might I add. And the Bears were like, no, it's going to have to be a second rounder. And, my conservative team, there's absolutely, there's no way.
no,
The fact that we've been traded for Minka that long ago, like 2 first rounders, I can't even believe it. Like, someone must have been high that day. I can't believe we even did that. But yeah, the Steelers, once again, just kind of play dead on trade deadline day, which, I mean, I'm fine with the state of the team, but a cornerback would have been so nice, man.
yeah,
I would have loved it.
yeah. I do think Joey Porter Jr. is going to be used a lot more. Is what it seems like, and
Yeah, it
people
seems
are
like
starting to come around on him. It appears,
yeah, for sure.
which is nice. I'm glad because we talked very highly of him coming out of Penn State.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad to see that people are kind of recognizing his talent. Whether he does slip up here and there, but he's a young player. That's going to happen. The kid's got talent. He's got the build for it for sure. So I think
Yeah.
there's no doubt he's going to be a very good player for the Steelers. I think people just aren't willing to accept it just yet.
Yep, that's kind of what I'm thinking. The Steelers fans want it. It's just really the coaching staff.
Yep. All right. Well, we've delayed ourselves plenty. Let's go ahead and get into NFL Week 9. This one is going to be an interesting week, and it all starts off in Frankfurt, Germany. Dolphins Chiefs,
Whoa,
Sunday
whoa.
morning. Is it Frankfurt or
Whoa,
Berlin?
tonight.
Oh, yeah, whatever, dude. Nobody fucking
What
cares
do
about
you
Thursday
mean,
night
whatever?
football. I don't care
we
that
can talk
Matt
about
Canada's going to be calling plays from the sidelines. I don't care.
dude. Oh, is he?
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
is.
even know that. I mean, good for him. Well,
Dude, the
I don't know.
over-under
He
is
might.
37.5. I'm not watching this game.
You're just mad that Will Levis beat your team, and he's gonna play on Thursday night.
Guess what? The
Against
Titans
the-
are 0-3 away this season. I don't think they're going to win.
I don't know, dude. Will Levis looks good, and I don't. I'm not hopping on his hype train just yet
Good.
because, his passes against the Falcons. Like I've seen the one clip where he like rolled out to the right. And then, that clip has been. I've seen it millions of times already. And I mean, he threw that.
I knew
on
he
the
was a
line,
good
but-
quarterback. Like, that's the
Yeah.
thing. I'm well aware of the fact that Will Levis can play the quarterback position. I'd just rather it have not happened to the Falcons. I think it was all the
Yeah.
jerseys. Those jerseys are unbelievable. They're so good.
Yeah, which that's actually like a bit of controversy right now.
Yeah, Houston
I've heard, which
certainly deserves those jerseys.
You think so?
I think so. I don't give a fuck who owns the team, whose team it was. The teams belong to the city, as far as I'm concerned.
I can understand that, but
The Titans
anyway,
are actually.
Thursday
I'm
night-
pretty sure the Titans are suing the University of Houston for using that blue color for some of their jerseys.
that's a little bit fucked
Yeah,
up.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah. But anyway, Thursday Night Football, we have my Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Tennessee Titans. It's, kind of a dud primetime game for all the neutral fans. I'm sorry, but I will be very happy watching my team. I don't really know how to go into this one. I'm very upset with how we played against Jacksonville. First of all, I would really respect the NFL if they tried to protect Kenny Pickett. It's actually horribly obvious. Like if you through watching Kenny Pickett, they definitely protect quarterbacks more than others.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett just shit on. I mean, and then you had the Trevor Lawrence play, like I guess a couple, either the next drive or the drive after, where literally the same thing happens, and of course they're throwing flags for him. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But I respect the toughness of Kenny Pickett. Pretty much in his post-game press conference in Jacksonville, was already saying that he's going to be ready to play Thursday night in the short week versus the Titans. And I definitely respect his toughness, and I like our chances going into the Titans game. I really do.
Yeah, I like y'all's chances just because of the defense. The defense gives you guys so many opportunities. Obviously, the Titans don't have a horrible defense. You know, Jeffrey Simmons is great, but they're not great. Like they're very middle of the pack defense, middle of the pack offense. And I think
Yeah.
that's a big part of this. Like the Steelers have some guys. It's not like they have just nobody on offense. They have
Yep.
two great wide receivers. George Pickens and Deontay Johnson are great. You have Najee Harris, who occasionally can do something. Occasionally. And
Occasionally.
Kenny Pickett can occasionally do something as well. Is he going to throw for more than one touchdown in a game? He's only done it once. But
Oh man.
he can throw the ball to Deontay Johnson and George Pickens and at least do something. So I think they certainly have a chance. Like I like the Steelers in this matchup, but like the Titans aren't just gonna like, lay down.
No, for sure. And I mean they're probably going to exploit the shit out of Derrick Henry because our run defense is kind of wavered. We really haven't looked good against the running back all season long, in my opinion. Even Damon Pierce had a good game against us. Who even is Damon Pierce anymore? But it's going to be tough, and I think Derrick Henry's probably going to go off. But this is a kind of defense where it'll be hard for Derrick Henry to last the entire game, kind of running with his style. He's a contact running back, and the Steelers are a very, very they love contact too.
I think you'll see a lot of Minkah Fitzpatrick dropping into the bottom level to meet Derrick. Oh fuck, you're right.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah. That's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I'm not too confident in Miles Kilbrew if it's not special teams. I think he'll probably be the other guy. But we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see. But I got the Steelers in this one. Score prediction. I'm gonna 2010. The score from last week, except we're gonna win.
Okay. Since the score will already be decided in the morning when they're listening to this, the Steelers won 20-14.
Nice.
And nobody watched it. All right. Now, Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time in Frankfurt, Germany. 6-2 Dolphins play the 6-2 Chiefs. And at face value, you would assume you say, okay, the Dolphins, best offense in football, really looking good. The Chiefs just lost to the Broncos. The Dolphins should wipe the floor, right? No. The Dolphins have not beaten a team above 500, first of all. Let's just get that out there. And I know that doesn't mean that much. And I'm not trying to say the Dolphins aren't good by saying they haven't beaten a team over 500, but they haven't played good against the two teams they played that are. Don't be surprised if the Dolphins catch a beating from the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Man, what a matchup it looks like on paper. And I was pretty high on the Dolphins until they lost to the Eagles because that was kind of a telling loss for me. Yeah. They're still probably the most entertaining team to watch because they,
you have Tyreek
below. Yeah, that
does it all.
Just a lot of speed on that team. But the Chiefs did lose to Russell Wilson, who threw for 3 touchdowns and 114 yards.
Yeah, that's the other part.
That's pretty
Yeah.
That is incredible, and I feel like the two losses for the Chiefs. Wow, that was a good one.
Bad.
It's they've been kind of like just bad losses. Like I feel like when the Chiefs lose, it's always like just Jesus, like
Yeah.
they can't do anything. But the Chiefs never play down to competition. If anything, playing the Dolphins is going to fire them up even more. I think the Chiefs could score 40
Oh my god.
against the Dolphins.
I don't know about that. I would like. Okay, I'm gonna say something, and I'm probably wrong. And everybody can just attack me for this. Are these two teams, out of all the teams that are 2 losses or better, so all the teams that have 2 losses are the Eagles, um,
Yep.
are the Dolphins and the Chiefs the most overrated?
Mm.
I look, I
Maybe
could
the
be
Dolphins.
entirely wrong, but if you look at the schedules that they've played, and you look at the schedules that, say, the Seahawks and the Ravens and the Jaguars have played, there's a lot more impressive wins on those resumes. The Lions as well. Way more impressive wins for some of those teams compared to the Dolphins, who, yeah, they're fantastic to watch. And the Chiefs, who have not been as good as they have been, but are the reigning Super Bowl champions. It's hard to say that both of those teams are overrated. I think they are.
I think the Dolphins, but not the Chiefs.
Okay. That's interesting. I feel like
That's my
I think if anything, it's probably the other way around.
really.
Yeah, like I know I just kind of shit on the Dolphins, but to shit on the Chiefs a little bit, like their wins, yeah, a horrible game against the Jags, but they still won. But that was also kind of before the Jags really figured things out. They beat the Bears. They barely beat Zach Wilson and the Jets. They beat the Vikings, who were pretty bad at that point still. They beat them by a touchdown. They barely edged one out against the Broncos. And then they win against the Chargers in a late score, kind of made it a little bigger of a margin than it really should have been. And then they just got dominated by the Broncos.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't look good.
I don't know. Maybe you're right because, like, if if you do really think about it, like the Ravens are really good. I would say
Yeah.
better than the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Um, and same goes, maybe not the Seahawks. I don't know.
Yeah,
Do
the
you think the
Seahawks are a
Cowboys are
weird
better?
one. The Seahawks are a weird one. The Cowboys are a weird one. Because, like, the
Yeah.
Cowboys can be great, but they're in kind of a similar boat as the Chiefs and Dolphins, where it's like, okay, you beat the Giants, you beat the Jets, you lost to the Cardinals, you beat the Patriots pretty bad, you got your ass kicked by the 49ers, and then you play a close one with the Chargers, but then on the other side of LA, you kick the shit out of the Rams. They're so here and there that it's hard to say. But just to kind of bring us back to the game, Dolphins, Chiefs, I think the Chiefs win. I'm not confident at all in who I think is going to win this game, though.
I think Patrick Mahomes is more equipped to playing teams that are as good as he is,
Yeah, that's
if that
fair.
makes sense. The Dolphins are. I don't see the Chiefs ever playing down to a team that's better than them. Like, isn't that kind of hard to like? It honestly makes more sense for the Chiefs to lose to the Broncos than it would like Baltimore.
Yeah,
I can't see Baltimore just running all over the Chiefs if that makes sense.
yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to go Kansas City here. I think, what I said earlier about them putting up 40, I think it's definitely possible. Will it happen? Maybe not. I'm going to go 35-31 Chiefs.
Okay.
Actually, let me take that back. I think it's going to be a bigger margin. We'll go 35 Chiefs, Dolphins 24. Yeah, I
Okay.
like that better. Yeah.
International games typically hit the under. I'm gonna go Chiefs 24. No, Chiefs 28, Dolphins 24.
I like
So
it.
just barely
Hey,
hit the
shout out to
over.
the NFL. I love the games in Germany, but I want another game in Mexico City.
Yeah.
I feel like
Also,
that's always good.
Stephen A. Smith and Pat McAfee both had great points throughout today. This game should be played in America on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football. The
That's a good point.
scheduling for the NFL is the worst. It
Not
sucks.
good.
But,
Not good.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I do want to mention. I forgot that the Dolphins beat the Patriots last week with like the perfect scenario, like passing
Yeah.
wise. You had Jalen Waddle go 7 receptions, 121, 1 touchdown, and Tyreek Hill had 8 receptions. He had 112 yards and a touchdown. That's exactly what you
Yeah.
want to see
Those
if
two
you're a Dolphin fan.
combined had 25 targets, and I think Tua attempted 40 passes.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Tells the story. But let's get into the
Yeah.
1 o'clock games. We'll start with the Vikings Falcons, so I can just go ahead and get this one out of the way. I don't know
Oh
what the
Lord.
fuck is going to happen. New starting quarterbacks on both sides.
They're gonna keep babies.
I favor Taylor Heineke in this matchup only because he's at least practiced this season all season, like this system all season. And he played well last week in that second half. I can't take that away from him. He played great. It was Van Jefferson's fault that we lost. But I like our chances of scoring first in this game, and I think that's big because we can definitely use the run game to dictate the rest of the game against the Vikings. That works. If we can get out there, score quick, and just run the clock down. And honestly, now that we don't have Ritter starting, even if we don't score first, I can at least rely on Heineke to throw the ball well enough for us to get in position to score points.
Yeah, I think I couldn't have said it better, honestly. The other side though is although the Vikings are probably is Dobbs going to start?
I would assume.
Is he going to? I mean, it's going to be a short week for him, and especially as a quarterback, that may not bode well. But who knows? Like what we talked about earlier with our trade segment is maybe the Vikings are going to super simplify everything for him. Like maybe the first week against Atlanta, but Atlanta, this is kind of a different team. I feel like Atlanta, they match up well against the run game defensively. The Vikings are not, they haven't been that team all season long. So it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting, despite the Vikings having a new quarterback and no Justin Jefferson still, it'll be interesting to see how Atlanta fares against that pass offense. But on the other side of it, yes, the Falcons are coming off of a loss, but it was just they lost to massive plays in that game. They were not out of that game whatsoever. And sometimes like when you lose to just big plays, it's kind of like ticky-tacky as far as who deserved to win the game. Like, yeah, they had like a 46-yard touchdown pass. Like that was just a one-hitter big play. The Falcons were in it the entire time. And that's something that we haven't really seen the Falcons do. I feel like if the Falcons get caught up defensively giving up big plays, with their kind of run heavy offense, they're probably out of the game. But this time they were in the game. I really think that the loss to the Titans was very telling of where the Falcons are going. And that was really a good loss for the Falcons. There's a lot of takeaways from that one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think we learned a lot out of that game. Obviously, we learned who the starting quarterback should be. But just in general, I think there was a lot to take away from it. And considering this game, I just looked at it. Most likely, Jaron Hall is gonna start for the Vikings. So tough for Minnesota.
Yeah, maybe
but
his dad's an arm wrestler.
you better fucking hope so.
Yeah.
Too bad we're not the Raiders. Yeah, I see Minnesota having no chance because like we talked about, what killed the Falcons last week was the big plays. Big plays are not going to come out of this team with Jaron Hall at quarterback or Josh Dobbs,
No.
honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, I think because the Vikings are going to be kind of forced into a situation where they maybe run something a little more simplified, I think it's going to hurt them a lot. This Falcons defense is good. I think people kind of forget that like the Falcons are capable of having a good defense outside of, one season ever. So yeah, I think we're well prepared for this game, and hopefully Bijan can get active.
Yeah, hopefully they can, report on him correctly.
Yeah. Last thing we need is to pay more fines. Let's go on to the next game, though. Cardinals
Hey,
versus
score prediction.
Browns. Sorry?
We need a score.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Falcons
go.
100, Vikings 0.
Nice.
I'm probably looking at like Falcons 27, Vikings 20.
I'm gonna go Falcons 21, Vikings 10.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah.
All right. Cardinals, Browns. Gross. Just bad.
Ooh.
But first week back for Kyler. Once again, I am going to have to question this team's willingness to win because right now they have the first pick because the Panthers have already had a bye week. The Cardinals have the worst winning percentage. I don't know. Maybe just lose. You're in Cleveland, too.
I can tell you right now, especially being in Cleveland, this is not going to be a good game for Kyler Murray to come back and play.
No.
He might just get hurt again against this defense.
He is a small boy.
You could not have gotten a worse game to come back to.
It might be the right week, though, because I want you to go do a little research real quick. I would like you to go pull up the Browns injury report.
Do we got a religious text of an injury report here?
It's absurd.
Damn, these are all guys.
There's a lot of names.
There's a lot of guys on this list, Grayson.
Yeah, including Deshaun Watson, who for some reason
Myles Garrett.
Yes. Greg Newsome as well. But for some reason, Deshaun actually.
Bro, this is like everybody.
Yeah, it's essentially everyone. They're trying to not end up in an Arthur Smith situation.
Yeah.
So Deshaun didn't appear to be limited. He took every snap with the first team at practice today. Was still considered limited in practice.
Uh-oh.
Don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
Yeah, and everybody else on the team is questionable. Literally everyone.
Yeah, just to kind of run through some of these names, you have Anthony Walker at middle linebacker, Taki, who's been kind of a playmaker for them, also at linebacker, Zadarius Smith, David Njoku, like you said, Greg Newsome, Myles Garrett's on this list, Jerome Ford is on this list, Grant Delpit, who I think is their starting safety, he's on this list, Mari Cooper, Joel Bitonio, and David Bell.
Jerome Ford, I believe, was at least on Wednesday.
He still is now. Yeah. He was limited in practice with an ankle injury. Mike Ford, one of their cornerbacks, he was limited at practice with a glute injury. His ass hurts. I just had to say that. I'm sorry. I'm a child.
Yeah. That was an astute observation.
You know, it's still their defensive coordinators, though. You can't take out that AFC North mindset that the Browns have had. And honestly, like, is Myles Garrett? Let's see. Oh, no, he was completely did not practice.
Oh.
I don't know, man. This is gonna be weird game. Maybe Kyler is kind of poised to have a statement game. Who knows?
Might be weird. Like, I know Cleveland is favored by 8 still, with all these questionable players and all this weird shit going on with Deshaun Watson. They're still favored by 8 points. Once again, it kind of gets back to that. Do the Cardinals actually want to win? Probably not. Not this game.
Yeah. No, not this one.
You got to wait on the Panthers to win another game before you're willing to.
Yep.
Then again, they're probably not going to draft a quarterback, which pisses me off.
I don't know. I've heard a lot about Caleb Williams to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I feel like if you have the first overall pick, you're going to take Caleb Williams, and then in 2 years, you'll probably regret it. I think he's not going to be good in the NFL.
Yeah, he's had a bad past couple of games. He really has.
Yeah,
but
just in general, Heisman winners in general just kind of fall short. Other than Burrow at the moment, it's not a very good Heisman winner in the NFL at quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, me and my dad talked about that a couple weeks ago. He was like, all the best quarterbacks don't win Heisman. And I was like, yeah, like Burrow, Lamar. That's it right now.
Yeah.
Hurts
Hmm.
never won. Um, like what's the other active ones are like Baker, Kyler, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
It's not great.
And even if you want to go back to like the real era of like quarterbacks, kind of like of our childhood, Ben Roethlisberger went to Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, he definitely did win
Yeah,
one.
Philip Rivers was like what, NC State
Yeah,
or something like that.
Wolfpack.
Um, yeah, Peyton Manning was on a Volunteers team.
Yep.
I don't think he was never a Heisman
Nope.
winner, was
I
he?
think he was a finalist.
Eli went to Ole Miss. Like all these guys, they went to good colleges, but I don't really feel like they
No,
were necessarily in the limelight at these colleges
no.
when they were
Well,
there. Does
like
that
they
make
were
sense? Like
definitely
they were
talked
good.
about. Like all those guys
Yeah,
were high draft picks, and then they were talked
yeah,
about going to the NFL. They were never in conversation for Heisman. It was always the one season wonders. That's how it's always
yeah,
been.
yeah, exactly. Strange.
But
Very strange.
to get back on task here, Cardinals Browns score prediction. What are we thinking?
Boy. Dang, I wish you wouldn't have made me look up the injury report because now
I
my
know,
gears are turning.
I know.
I don't know what to say. Um, Browns 21, Cardinals 20. Close game.
Okay, I'm gonna go Browns 21, Cardinals 17.
Okay.
All right, next
Yeah,
game though.
so nothing to our score predictions. We're
Yeah,
both going the Browns.
yeah. It's hard to pick the Commanders, or not the Commanders, the Cardinals.
Yeah,
It's a tough one. But the next game, Rams versus Packers. My only note: this game's gonna suck.
yeah, what a bum game, man.
It's gonna
Two
be like
drunk guys,
Brett
right, Grace?
Ripien. No, this is like two crackheads fighting over like a fucking saltine.
Yeah, damn, that's pretty low. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about the Rams anymore. Like, dude, it was so much fun at the beginning of the season. Like, just Puka Nakua, just for one, saying his name, and
True.
two, just Matthew Stafford was just slinging it. But yeah, Matthew Stafford is kind of proving to not be as durable as we may have hoped he is, and it's just all down the drain for him. Honestly, it
Yeah.
doesn't look too good at all.
No, not at all. Because not just thumb, but the UCL now. It's not good.
Yeah,
His arm. I said it on Monday's episode. His thumb was the subject of bullying in that game against the Cowboys. It was
yeah.
bad. Uh,
Go after guys.
the Packers, silver lining, they're at home. That's the only thing that's helping them, I think. Like AJ or not AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones is expected to be like 100% back in this offense now.
What does that even
Yeah, what
mean
does
for
that
him?
mean? 7 carries probably.
That's how much he had last week.
Yeah, he'll have as many carries as Jordan Love probably has interceptions. Um,
Nice.
um,
Oh boy,
like I don't know how to feel about this game at all. This has like 14-7 written all over it.
it really does. And just to look at the Packers a little bit more deeper, I don't even have a blueprint for them anymore, man.
Yeah,
Like I don't even. It's gotten to the point where the two stable players on their team. Well, there's more than just two, but I guess offensively, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. And now I don't even really know about them. I don't know what's been going on over there. I was really hoping, best case scenario for the Packers, because I know you were high on them and I wasn't at the beginning of the season. Best case scenario for me would at least be an offense that was Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon run.
yeah,
But you're only rushing the ball 17 times against the Vikings last week.
yeah.
And it's mind-boggling to
I
me,
think their
man.
biggest issue,
just,
though, their biggest issue with that is that they can't get a lead. They cannot score the first touchdown.
no, absolutely not.
That's what kills them. But
I don't know.
I still think they have a chance in this game. Like the Rams' defense sucks. Well, I'll say it. At least against good teams. But when it comes to the Rams now, it's like, okay, at least last week you had Stafford to make up for no Kyron Williams. Now you have Brett Ripien and like Royce Freeman in the backfield trying to do anything. Yeah, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are there. I don't know how much of a help they're going to be to all that, just of a mess in the backfield. So,
Yeah.
And they're at Lambeau. It's going to be cold. I'm going to take the Packers, but it's going to be ugly. Trust that. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
Packers 17, Rams 9.
Ooh, I like the 9 there.
Yeah, no
I'm going to go 17-14 Packers.
All right.
17-14 Packers.
All right, next game at 1 o'clock, Commanders, Patriots. Honestly, not much better.
No, not at all.
It's a miracle that the Patriots are favored in a game, but I don't really understand that. I'll be honest. I know the Commanders just traded away 2 of their best defensive players, but they still have an offense.
Yeah, Sam Howell can sling it, dude.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson are great. Brian Robinson's
another
great.
Commander Eagles game in the 30s. Sam Howell almost threw for 400 yards.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah, he did. No, I mean the Commanders. They match up well against this Patriots team. The Commanders are trading defense, but the Patriots don't have an offense. The Commanders. I'm just going to put this game simple. The Commanders are a team that can score 30 points. The Patriots could never even imagine scoring 30 points in this game.
It takes about 4 competent players on the defense to shut down Mac Jones. So I think they'll be just fine.
Yeah, they have the young secondary, and they got the 2 interior guys.
Yeah, and didn't Kendrick Bourne get hurt too? He tore his ACL. He's out for the rest of the season.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So the Patriots are even more fucked because Kendrick Bourne was the only one doing anything at wide receiver all year.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think the Patriots. I respect Bill Belichick for being so hell bent on having always 2 good tight ends.
Yeah.
Like you had Gronk, Aaron Hernandez, if I can
Martellus
even mention his name.
Bennett.
Martellus Bennett. And then like just a couple seasons ago, you brought in Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, coming off of amazing seasons with the Titans and Chargers.
Yeah.
But it's just not working anymore. Like I feel like Mike Gesicki or Hunter Henry at this point is just taking up cap space. You only need one of them at this point. And
the problem is that they don't use either of them.
No, they don't.
It's like, what's the use in having 2?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I
don't get it either. But
they badly need Matthew Judon back. Really badly.
They don't have a pass rush anymore. They don't have a pass rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're expecting your sacks to come from safety Kyle Duggar, you're fucked. Even though he's good at that. But
he is good at that.
Patriots 14, Commanders 28.
I'm going to go Commanders 31, Patriots 14.
Nice.
I think the Commanders' offense is just going to be too good for them. Next game, though, just another fucking horrible game. Bears Saints. God, that is so bad. Can Derek Carr actually use his wide receivers? That's the big question. Will he throw to Rashid Shaheed amazingly this week? Don't know. Will he throw to Alvin Kamara 18 times? That one you can mark it off on the list. That's already done. Game hasn't started. Doesn't start for multiple days. He's already thrown to Alvin Kamara 20 times in this game. Montez Sweat is going to be all over him.
Yeah. Yep. Taysom Hill. How about him the past couple weeks?
Yeah.
It's been fun.
He's been useful. That's as far as I will go with Taysom Hill. I will never call him good, great. I will call him useful. That's the utmost respect I can show for him.
I respect that. What's been kind of weird for the Saints, and I don't know if this is just new quarterback things, but really expected Chris Olave to be more of a threat this season.
Yeah. Well, I think I expected Derek Carr to be a better quarterback for him.
Yeah, which coming off of a fantastic offensive game against the Colts, but it's also the Colts. So,
Yeah, the Colts defense is so fucking bad.
yeah, it really is. And the Saints defense is pretty bad too. Despite them kind of having some like Tyrann Mathieu, Marshawn Lattimore, Cam Jordan, guys like that, Demario Davis, but yeah, just another stinker of a game. But I don't see how the Bears won. The Saints, I don't know what it is, but even when their offense is bad, I still like watching them. There's something about the pairing of Olave and Michael Thomas that's interesting. I do like Taysom Hill a lot when he's being, as you said, useful. I think that's a good way to put him. And Alvin Kamara is just like easily one of my favorite non-Steelers out there.
Yeah.
So I actually enjoy watching the Saints play in this kind of in this world, and it's interesting to see Derek Carr on a different team. But they're not very good. They're not very consistent. But it's going to be enough to push them over the Bears, who have just had they have nothing in Chicago.
Yeah.
Nothing. Montez Sweat.
Yeah, they have Montez Sweat, who, honestly, if you can force Derek Carr to throw picks, you can win a football game against him. 100%.
Yeah.
Because once he throws the first one, he just opens the floodgates. But my problem for the Bears, because if you've been listening to the show for both seasons we have covered the NFL, I've probably only picked the Saints to win 2 games ever. I hate them with every fiber of my being. But Justin Fields didn't practice on Wednesday. Seems like he's progressing towards a comeback. I don't know if it's going to be this week. If Badgett plays, I still don't hate their chances of winning. The one that kills it for me is Tremaine Edmonds. He didn't practice on Wednesday. If he doesn't play this game, they will get wiped across the floor. If he does, they have a chance, but I think I still have to pick the Saints.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints in this one. 24-10 Saints.
Yeah, hold on. I got to know if Fields is going to play or not. Let's see. He didn't practice Thursday. Not looking good. Since Badgett's the quarterback, I'm going to go Saints 24, Bears 10.
Nice. Same score.
All right. So many fucking games this week. Good Lord. A lot of 1 o'clock games. Next game, though, Seahawks-Ravens.
Ooh, finally some content.
Yeah, and if Lamar comes out like he has been, if he comes out hot, Seahawks have a 0% chance of winning this football game.
Zero. Really?
If Lamar Jackson plays good football in this game, they will kick the shit out of the Seahawks. And I was just talking about how the Seahawks are pretty good. We were also talking about how the Ravens are great. That's the difference here in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. But, the Seahawks, they have the receivers, man. They have the weapons in the run game as well. I feel like to be able to keep up with a Lamar Jackson offense, but it's more of a sure chance I feel like Lamar Jackson will play well than Geno Smith and his offense will play well because we haven't seen that, be consistent, exactly. But what a draft pick Zay Flowers is turning out to be for this team. And you said it. I will admit you said it. I did not think that Zay Flowers would be like off the bat. I thought it was Quentin Johnson. How more wrong could I have been? But he's just been perfect because I feel like the Ravens could have easily been like, okay, we signed Odell. We have Mark Andrews still. We're going to use our pick somewhere else. They very well could have done that. But they're not the team they are today without Zay Flowers.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I need
Gus Edwards well too.
Yeah.
It's been good.
Yeah, Gus Edwards is on some other shit right now, man. But I have to talk about the Seahawks here. I like the creativity with this offense. Throwing to Jake Bobo. I think he had a rushing touchdown last week. They're getting creative. But run the fucking ball, please. Kenneth Walker had a ridiculously good opening drive. He had 3 carries for 47 yards last week on the opening drive. and he finished with 8 carries for 66 yards. 5 more carries in the entire game. And also, DK Metcalf, what the fuck happened last week? 14 targets, 5 receptions? You might as well be giving half of his targets away.
Yeah.
Throw to Jake Bobo, who's catching the ball right now. Throw to JSN, who's having great weeks. 2 straight weeks with a touchdown for him. They threw to Tyler Lockett 9 times. He caught it 8 times and had a significantly better game than DK. Just because he's on the field does not mean that you have to continue to throw to him over and over and over again. If he's not going to catch the ball, don't throw him the ball. Because you have so many options to go with on this offense. It's crazy.
Yeah, and to your point, they're not utilizing them, especially in the run game. Like even Zach Charbonnet, 5 carries, 53 yards, and his longest was 21. Like that's an average of a first down every time he touches the ball.
And he's great when he catches the ball too.
And yeah, he is. And to your point with Kenneth Walker as well, like this was not like he slowed down. They literally just stopped giving him the opportunities.
Yeah.
They just stopped. I don't understand it. And they somehow come away with the win against Cleveland.
I think that was PJ Walker's doing.
Yeah.
But with this game, score-wise, I think the Ravens run away with it quickly. I think it gets out of hand fast and just like kind of coasts from there. I'm going to take the Ravens 31, Seahawks 17. It was a popular score last week. I'm going to go with it again this week.
All right, I'm going to go Baltimore 28, Seattle 20.
All right. A little bit closer for you. The last game of the 1 o'clock slate, Buccaneers, Texans, no clue what happens in this game. I have no idea.
Yeah, because, even C.J. Stroud has been kind of on the climb down, too. He started hot.
Yeah.
Hadn't really been anymore. And kind of the same thing with the Buccaneers, I think.
It's weird. They're both in a similar position.
Yeah, the Buccaneers have lost 3 straight, actually. Yeah. Lions, Atlanta, then Buffalo when Chris Godwin
haven't put up more than 18 points in a game.
So things are kind of failing there, but hey, Carolina, or not Carolina. Carolina, off of a win against Houston, which is very strange. I didn't think it was going to come against the Texans, but hey, it came.
It did.
It did.
The Texans are just weird, man. Like, they can be good. They can be very good, actually. Yeah. C.J. Stroud can be very good. Is it going to show against the Buccaneers defense? I don't know. Is this Texans defense going to step up and show something against this Buccaneers offense that hasn't been good but can be? It's both of these teams are so obvious, like they have the things that it takes to be good and they don't use them, or they just aren't good. Both of them exemplify that idea. Like, it is absurd. But
yeah,
I still kind of like the Texans.
I don't know. I'm going to have to disagree with you. I don't think that if the Texans didn't have a run game against Carolina, you could argue that they did, but they spread it out among so many people. But that's just going to be even worse against the Buccaneers, which, means it goes into the hands of C.J. Stroud. And I feel like just with his momentum right now, it hasn't been very good. The Buccaneers have some veterans on that defense that are going to know what he's going to try to do. They're they're probably going to love to eat up on this rookie. So I'm going to go the Buccaneers in this one. I like them a lot. And the Buccaneers receivers, like, despite them not scoring a lot of points, like, they still, like you said, have the weapons to move the ball down the field. It's just a matter of getting to the end zone for them. And I think they're going to do it more than the Texans.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with the Texans because last week the play calling was weird. Not like any other Texans game I've watched this season. I think they end up reverting back to anything that was successful because obviously nothing went well last week. I think they make some changes there. I think Dalton Schultz has been so up and down this week. Like, if you're looking fantasy football wise, 7 games, he's boomed 3 times, he's busted 3 times. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I think he'll get some targets just because you kind of want to avoid Jamel Dean. You kind of want to avoid the guys in the middle. You'll see Dalton Schultz running to the sideline a lot for like 3-4 yards. I think that happens a lot in this game just to avoid pressure. And I think this team also kind of allows a deep ball to happen every once in a while. Nico Collins, Tank Dell do that very well. CJ Stroud, of course, can throw the ball a mile. So that's not going to be an issue. So I'm going to take the Texans, and I'm going to take them 20. I'm going to go 21-20. Very close game.
Okay, I'm going to take the Buccaneers 24-17. I just think it's they got to give Chris Godwin and Mike Evans more targets than Rachaad White, I think is where you can start.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Rachaad White getting 7 receptions, 70 yards, but like you're going to have to be throwing the ball more than that. And Baker's going to have to be a little bit more accurate in this game, but I think he's capable of doing it. And I mean, you and I know very well the capabilities of Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and I think that's going to carry them to the victory against the Texans. 24-17 Buccaneers.
All right, our next game starts off the 4 o'clock slate. Colts Panthers. Ugh. I feel like the Colts should probably win. They've been giving up a lot of points, but definitely don't think I'm going to fall for the Panthers. Don't think that win means anything.
No Anthony Richardson and a Jonathan Taylor that's just still trying to get back into his groove. There is nothing entertaining about the Colts anymore.
Yeah. But they're still going to beat the Panthers.
Yeah, they are.
Like there is a snowball's chance in hell that I fall for this Panthers team after that game. They're not a shot. They played horrible. The Texans were just worse.
Yeah, and on the other side, I know that Jonathan Taylor has kind of not been necessarily the back yet, but last week in their loss to the Saints, like Jonathan Taylor, 12 carries, 95 yards, no touchdowns. But then you had Zach Moss, 11 carries, 66 yards.
They
have
well
a nice
together
going. Yeah, and I honestly like. As somebody who drafted Jonathan Taylor first round in one of my leagues, I don't like that Zach Moss is still a part of this offense, but you have to respect the Colts for not just like kind of giving up on him as soon as Jonathan Taylor came back. And they have a probably the best running back tandem in the league right now, I would say. And Jonathan Taylor's only been, around for like a couple of games. So, I respect the Colts a lot for leaving Zach Moss into their offense. And yeah, like you said, the Panthers are still complete shit. Yeah. No run game. Picking up Miles Sanders, like you could not have spent your money worse. Could have gotten anybody else, but you got Miles Sanders. Adam Thielen still looks good. Jonathan Mingo is starting to become more a part of the offense, which I think is good for their future. But yeah, this Panthers team is complete shit.
Yeah, I will say the one thing on the Panthers side is that they essentially need to win football games because they don't have a first-round pick. It goes to the Bears. Yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. Like you'd think this team should lose games to get a better draft pick. It doesn't matter. I guess you could lose games and get an early second-round pick. Sure. But you already kind of missed out on the party if you're doing that. Like, I get it. You drafted the guy who you think is going to be your franchise quarterback, and there's a chance he is. You also set yourself up for failure for years to come.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to make a guy your franchise quarterback when you set him up for failure.
It's almost, and I'm actually going to ask you a question right now. Should they have waited? Should they have maybe stuck with just Andy Dalton?
No.
For a season? Really?
No. If you have the opportunity to draft either Young or Stroud, you're going to take it. Other people called the Bears. The Panthers obviously wanted it a lot. The Bears were not going to pick. They were not going to take a quarterback. A quarterback
Yep.
had to be taken number 1 overall in that draft. I get why the Panthers would trade up. There were plenty of other teams that probably called the Panthers were willing to give up the most to go and get a quarterback. The problem is it's not a franchise that's willing to spend any money.
Yeah.
They're not good. Like, they have to go out in free agency and get offensive linemen this offseason because you can't draft one in the first round. Yeah, you could probably get a good one in the second round. You're gonna have to go out and pick up some defensive players. You need more help on that defensive line than just Brian Burns. You need more help in the secondary outside of just J.C. Horn. It seems like they try to solve their problems by getting one player every single time. One player doesn't do the work.
No.
You can't have one wide receiver. You have 0 running backs. You can start there. But, like, it is just absurd to me that they put all of that into getting that pick, knowing damn well that those owners and that GM are not going to spend the money to make it a successful team. Bryce Young might be a successful quarterback. It's not going to be for the Panthers if he is. He's going to be his ceiling with the Panthers is Matthew Stafford with the Lions.
Yeah, wow. What a comparison there.
I think that's very it's a franchise that's not known for going out and making moves. They don't set him up to win. Like, it lines up very well. That would be the case. The Panthers are not a winning franchise. They're not going to be a winning franchise until things change, and I don't think things are going to change.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Right there with you.
I don't know why I felt the need to get on a rant there about the Panthers. But, you know, I did.
That was good. I like that one. Yeah, no, the Panthers have set themselves up for failure for years. And something that you didn't mention that I think it's fair to say is Bryce Young's already gone down once. Super minor injury.
Yeah.
But we could be seeing that a lot more often, unfortunately, with him, which is the last thing that you need, because then you can't trade him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Colts Panthers dud game. Colts are going to win 21-10.
I think the Colts are going to win 24-6.
I like it.
All right, Giants Raiders. It's actually such a bad game. I forgot to put it on the prep sheet. It's just not here.
Nice.
Didn't even realize it.
Doesn't need to be.
This game sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, this game's going to be like 2-1.
Yeah, we're going to get a safety for the Raiders and a safety on a 2-point conversion attempt by the Giants. And it'll be 2-1. Scoregami. I don't know. I think I talked about how the Raiders are going to have the interim head coach boost, and I think that's true.
Yeah. No, I get that. And like I said, the coaches, not the coaches, the players of the Raiders need a coach that they like. Yeah. It's such a bad environment over there right now, I feel like. And, Josh Jacobs has been unhappy in that organization. Devontae Adams is kind of, he's kind of new to the unhappy train over there. But, yeah, no, like you said, and I like how you mentioned that he's like a linebacker guy, because linebacker coaches got to be ferocious. They got to be just loud and exciting people. You know what I mean? And it might be perfect for the Raiders moving forward.
I think so. He's not going to be the head coach, after this season, but for now, I think that's the mentality they need. They need to fight. And I think having a hard-nosed guy like that, which just about everybody does. When they fired Gruden, Rich Bisaccia, fantastic interim head coach, got him to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of stuff they do in Oakland or in Vegas. Sorry. Still used to that one. I still try to call the Rams St. Louis sometimes, so I'm very stuck in my ways because that was a long
Yeah,
time ago.
that was a long time ago.
But
Man.
yeah, I think Danny Dimes is back. Doesn't matter,
Yeah,
not at all. It just means
does
there's
not
going to
matter.
be more turnovers. Maybe more
Yeah,
points, but more turnovers.
yeah. The Giants threw the ball 14 times against the
Yeah,
Jets
Tommy.
between two different
If
guys.
Tommy DeVito is playing a game in the National Football League, something is wrong.
Dude, it's the DeVito guy for the Giants.
Yeah,
Who
like what the fuck?
the fuck is Daniel Jones? Put in Tommy
Yeah,
DeVito.
exactly.
uh,
Um,
um, what is Tommy DeVito?
former Syracuse quarterback that sucked at Syracuse.
So he's a homegrown kid.
Yeah, I guess. I would assume he's
so,
from New
so
York. His name is Tommy DeVito.
Saquon Barkley had 3 receptions for 0 yards, 36 carries.
Yeah,
Just oh my god, like this is honestly more of a bad win for the Jets than it is a bad loss for the Giants. Like looking at the Giants offensively, I don't see how the Jets just didn't blow them away.
yeah. Well,
I
you
have
got to
no
remember
idea.
their offense not good.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay.
not.
Final score for this game. I'm tired of talking about it. Raiders. This one seems like it'll have a weird score. Somebody's gonna like miss extra points and stuff. Raiders
Yeah.
16, Giants 12.
Okay, I'm gonna go weird score with you too. I'm gonna go Raiders. Oh damn, Raiders. Yeah, Raiders 16,
Oh,
Giants
you're
6.
sticking with 16. Okay,
I'm gonna stick with 16. Yeah,
sick. All right,
16
now
sticks.
to the good games.
Yes.
Cowboys, Eagles.
Oh damn.
I think this is the kind of game that exposes the Cowboys. Like this is the team that would do it, but maybe they
Ah,
don't.
I don't know,
That's what
man.
I'm saying.
The
Like,
Cowboys have like good against Philly in recent years.
yeah, I know. That's
Even with Cooper Rush, didn't they? Or almost
yeah, they were close. I think.
last.
Um,
Yeah.
my issue is like, is Tony Pollard useless? Is he just not good anymore?
Why, like just saying the sentence. Like, did Tony Pollard need Ezekiel Elliott? That is just a crazy sentence to
I
say.
know, but he's
I don't
not.
get it.
Does he need Rico Dowdle? I don't know what the deal is with Tony Pollard.
Uh, I
He
don't
just
either.
isn't good now.
Very bizarre season. I think you and I were both high on him.
Yeah.
Like, first time in his career, he's going to be the running back 1, and he just has not. He's not been there.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
Not been
drafted him in the second round in fantasy football if I knew. Um, yeah,
there.
it's just like I think it's hard to pick against the Eagles. Like, dude, AJ Brown is not a human being. In October, he had 40 receptions, 700 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns.
I actually traded AJ Brown away this season.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
traded him for Kyron Williams and Chris Olave. One of them's hurt, and one
Oh
of them's
man,
Chris.
yeah, yeah. One of them's
What a good
hurt,
trade.
and one of them's quarterback is Derek Carr,
Yeah,
which is just as good as being injured.
yeah.
It's so
Basically.
hard to pick against the Eagles. Like, I like the Cowboys. I don't know what the hell is going to happen in this game.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm gonna go division rival. The Cowboys, I think, are gonna win, but I want to mention something, and I just think it's crazy to say this out loud. But like all the weapons that the Cowboys have brought in, especially this season offensively, how is CeeDee Lamb the only consistent person?
I don't get it. Brandon Cooks,
I don't get it.
useless.
Even Jake Ferguson is
Yeah.
better than Brandon Cooks, and honestly, like, could you say better than Tony Pollard right now
Oh,
for
yeah,
the team?
I would say.
It-
At least
I mean,
Jake Ferguson's getting touchdowns.
Yeah, getting into the end zone. But yeah, the Cowboys. just a weird team this year, man. If
Yeah.
they didn't have their defense, they'd be fucked.
Yeah. All right. Final score.
I'm gonna take the Cowboys. Like I said, I'm gonna go 20, um, 24-20 Cowboys.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna give the Eagles the benefit of the doubt. They're at the link. I think I'm gonna go 20, 27, 23.
Okay, I like it.
All right.
I like it a lot.
Bills
Let's do
Bengals
it.
Sunday Night Football. I have no predictions. I just hope it's a great game.
Don't let Damar Hamlin take the field.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's a given.
Okay, I will say the camera is going to be all over him in this game. I know he's not
Oh
going to
yeah,
play. I think he's already questionable. He's not going to play. The commentators are going to bring him up every single time somebody gets tackled.
yeah,
That's going to be the issue
yeah.
here. We're going to see
Yeah. Is it?
just all we're going to see the Damar ambulance probably, even though they're in Cincinnati. The Bills will probably take it on the plane with them.
The Damar ambulance.
Yeah. I didn't come up with that. It's hilarious. That ambulance is ridiculous.
Oh my god.
It's as if he died with that ambulance. It's not even the
man.
ambulance he was in.
No, it's not.
It's crazy. But, okay, it's in Cincinnati. Here's my prediction for the game. Damar Hamlin takes the field to a standing ovation. They show a video of him on the big, board. The cameras just never stop cutting away from him. If anybody gets injured, the camera will just be a close up on his face.
Yeah.
If T. Higgins gets hurt, the whole world will collapse.
Yeah.
And if anybody has a head, neck, back, heart injury, I think the entire NFL will burn to the ground. I
Yeah.
think the whole world will just disintegrate.
Yep.
So that's my prediction. Game prediction. Somebody gets hurt, somebody goes unconscious, and the whole world disintegrates during Sunday Night Football.
Oh my god, yeah. Aside from the jokes though, what a game this is going to be.
Oh,
Probably.
yeah.
I mean, the Bengals,
Bengals are hot.
Statement win over a 49ers team that's kind of, unraveling just a little bit.
Yeah, concussed Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
Very
concussed Brock Purdy. Yeah, super concussed Brock Purdy, but yeah, Joe Burrow looked amazing. Absolutely amazing against the 49ers defense. Probably one of the best quarterback performances against this kind of like modern 49ers defense. Only 4 incomplete passes, 3 touchdowns, and almost 300 yards. Joe Mixon also with a good game too. But Buffalo also looks really, really good. I just don't know. But Buffalo's had some close games that kind of make me question if they can get over the Bengals with how hot they are in this one. Kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think for both of these teams, it's certainly must win. I think the Bengals are still trying to prove that they're back, but the Bills are trying to prove that they deserve to be at the top despite a couple of tough losses. It's a weird situation for both teams. I don't know if either team has the edge, though. Like, nobody has the edge in this matchup, in my eyes.
Nobody. Yeah, nobody does.
Like, Cincinnati's favored by 2. That's entirely home game based line, but an over under of 49.5 means this game's going to be high scoring. I still don't know though. Like, the Bills picked up Leonard Fournette. He looks great in practice. He looks like he has not stopped working out since he got cut by the Buccaneers.
And good for him. With James Cook and Latavius Murray, too.
Yeah. Wild.
That's going to be scary. But very similar teams. Like, if you want to break it down, Josh Allen and Burrow they're going to put up similar numbers all throughout their careers. you have, I guess, running backs like that are hit and miss. Joe Mixon can hit and he can
Joe
miss,
Mixon
and so can
misses a
Baker,
whole lot more than James Cook, especially this season.
especially this season. That is fair. But receiving, you have Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and then this Khalil Shakur guy who's been amazing.
Yeah.
On the other side, you have Jamar, Higgins, and Boyd. I mean, they're
Yeah.
very,
I give the
very
Bengals a
similar.
slight edge, except for that T. Higgins has been non-existent all season.
See, I would give the Bengals a slight edge, but for me, the way that Dalton Kincaid has been playing kind of levels it
Yeah.
out. The Bengals don't really have a tight end.
Yeah.
The Bills definitely do, and
I
their
can agree.
rookie. God, who's going to win this game? I genuinely am at a loss. I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm gonna take the
There's,
Bengals. I'm gonna feed the hot hand. I'm
there's
gonna go Bengals. Bengals 28, Bills 27.
I'm trying to figure out where the game is.
It's in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay, yeah, then I'll just go Bengals then. Home field advantage. At that dreaded stadium. I'm going to go 31-28 Bengals.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Football, which I don't know how I feel about. Chargers-Jets. Okay, am I sick for saying that I like this matchup? Is there something wrong with me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because despite the Chargers being 3-4, they have entertaining players, and the Jets have entertaining players. So, no,
Okay.
you can say that.
Because there's something I like about, and I've talked about this before, there's something I like about a matchup of good offense versus good defense and bad offense versus bad defense that I love. Because there is no telling who's going to come out on top.
No, there's
Because
not.
a lot of matchups we see are like good offense versus better defense, like bad offense versus worse defense. These two teams are literally like the offense and the defense line up perfectly. The defense and the offense line up perfectly. It's crazy.
Yeah. Zach Wilson just pisses me off at this point. Like, watching Hard Knocks, I see a different Zach Wilson, a humble kid that we've highlighted so many times on this podcast, but he just still can't. He doesn't have the ability yet.
Yeah.
He just does. He looks better. Definitely has improved, I would say, than last season, but he's not the quarterback that's guaranteed to make you to the or get you into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which, the Jets are lucky that they have a robot, Aaron Rodgers, that is throwing in pregame these days.
True.
I kind of think in this game the Jets do have a good defense, but I'm going to ride high on the Chargers offense in this one. And if the Chargers are scoring a lot, it's pretty obvious who's going to come out on top because the Jets will not be able to keep up, and I think that's what's going to happen in this one.
Okay. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with the Jets.
Okay.
21-17.
21-17?
Yeah.
Jets. Okay. I'm going to go Chargers 28, Jets 13.
All right. That's it. That's NFL Week 11. And that's exactly how it's going to go. Nothing different from what we said. Zero discrepancies. As it does every week.
Very bad week of football. But
there's redeeming games, for sure. There is redeeming games.
Exactly. Yeah. There's definitely redeeming games.
But let's talk about something that is done. It is all determined. It is all the past now. The World Series goes to the Texas Rangers, of all teams. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I probably would have been like, are we talking about the same Texas team? You're talking about the one that lost 94 games, I think, last season? They're 25 games under 500. The first team to be 25 games under 500 and come back the next season and win the World Series. I feel like we could go through and break down the games. Game 3 on Monday, Texas won 3-1 in a close game. John Gray pitched great. Brandon Pfaadt, for what it's worth, pitched great too. And then we saw an offensive battle on Tuesday. Texas takes that one 11-7 in just the weirdest matchup, honestly. Like, this game 4 was weird. Because, like, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager were the entire offense.
Yeah.
Like 7 RBIs between the two of them.
Yeah, and good defense by the Texans early on, keeping them off the board. I mean, it seemed like it was going to be 10-0 for a minute, but then
Yeah.
the Diamondbacks ended up scoring a run in the fourth. Um, just
Yeah. It
they're
should have been a
literal.
way bigger blowout because so this game was supposed to be
Yeah,
a bullpen game for the Diamondbacks. They had already gone through the 3 in their rotation. They were confident in playing. Then it was this one. This was a horrible situation to be in to throw a bullpen game.
yeah,
Like that sucks the way it was set up, but like Mantiply sucked. Castro sucked. Nelson sucked. Frias sucked. Nelson, the other Nelson sucked as well. Sal Frank comes in and just finishes the game, but like the Rangers pitching, at least later on in that game, absolutely abysmal from Burke, who pitched .1 innings. Yeah, Brock Burke, .1 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs. Will Smith, what a surprise, 1 hit, 2 runs. 2 strikeouts though, so good enough, I guess. And then Leclerc finishes it out for the final third of the inning. But my God, was this just bad pitching, kind of on both sides. Heaney didn't pitch all that bad, but everybody else essentially sucked.
yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah,
Absolutely brutal.
but Game 5 is all that counts now, and Texas won in a shutout, 5-0, and nothing to say about the Diamondbacks except the offense froze. It's exactly what happened to the Phillies against the Diamondbacks in the last round. The Diamondbacks bats just died. Marte, yes, he was getting on base, all things considered. He finished out the playoffs totally fine. He had a 20-game hitting streak throughout these playoffs. Insane. Or, throughout these playoffs in his last playoff appearance. He walked 3 times. Didn't get a hit in that game, but Corbin Carroll kind of slowed it down in the World Series. Gabriel Moreno was essentially useless outside of a couple of big hits throughout the series. Tommy Pham kind of sucked. Christian Walker really sucked. Longoria sucked. Rivera sucked. Perdomo sucked. Like the bottom half of that lineup killed them because Gurriel wasn't bad. Alec Thomas was not good. Bad pick by me on World Series MVP. He sucked. He batted .222. But yeah, like it was just like the middle part of the lineup was okay in a lot of these games, and then it was like the bottom 2 or 3 sucked every time. And it didn't help that Paul Sewald pitched 2 innings and gave up 7 runs in this series. Literally one of the best playoff performances through the championship series. 5 saves in a single playoff. Insane. 0 saves in the World Series in his 2-3 appearances.
Dude, Corey Seager started it. He hit that home run game 1, and it was over for Paul Sewald from there.
Yeah,
his entire
he
career.
immediately went back to being a Met very quickly. Funny enough, like Mets all over this one. You had obviously Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer both winning rings, even though neither of them were healthy at the time that they won it. But you also had Travis Jankowski, a former Met, a few other guys as well, I believe. But on the Diamondback side, it was like 2 of the guys that gave up quite a few runs out of that bullpen, Paul Sewald and Miguel Castro, 2 former Mets.
There you go.
I will say,
Mets out of it.
Kevin Ginkel, amazing, fantastic in this entire postseason, gave up 0 runs.
There you go.
0 runs for the Diamondbacks. So Kevin Ginkel can hold his head high because I think he pitched, in the postseason, he pitched 11.2 innings, gave up 0 runs. That is amazing.
Not that bad. Yeah. Zach Gallen, too. Yeah. Valiant effort in 5. Just no offense behind him. Simple as that. And then you had, I mean, Evaldi coming in though. Evaldi, holy fuck, dude.
So,
What
oh
a
my, how
postseason for
many
him.
jams did he get out of in that game? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
right? Yeah. He gave up 5 walks and 4 hits,
Yeah.
but no runs.
Yeah. That is hard to come
Insane.
by.
Yeah.
And then Chapman just coming in, kind of doing his job, and Spores, a rare 2 1/3 inning save.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like
Interesting stuff.
they're giving it to Mariano Rivera right there,
Yeah.
coming out 2 innings to finish out the postseason.
Yeah.
But yeah, just fuck Aroldis Chapman.
He
I don't really
sucks.
like him anymore.
But yeah,
Boy.
that tells the story. Corey Seager wins his second World Series MVP of his career, the first player to do it in each league, and the fourth player to win multiple. Um, just ridiculous. He really turns it up in the World Series, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Has a theme doing it.
Yeah. The Rangers are now no longer the oldest franchise that have never won a World Series. Um, there's only 5 teams that haven't won one now. The Rockies, Brewers, Padres, Mariners, and Rays. I think the Brewers and Padres being the 2 oldest. Kind of crazy that the Brewers never won one. They've had
Yeah.
some
I was just
legendary
gonna say,
guys come through. Save for the Padres and Mariners, obviously have their own legends of the game. But the craziest thing is that the Rangers were 40-41 on the road in the regular season, and were a perfect 11-0 on the road in the playoffs. That's absurd.
wow. And still,
Insane.
like I know it happened early in the season, but no DeGrom.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And in
What's the deal with
Scherzer's
like
appearances in the playoffs, he was dog shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Rangers just had to. I mean, shout out to them. They definitely at the end of the day deserved it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Will
For sure.
Smith, possibly the most undeserving of the bunch, is now the first player to win 3 straight World Series with 3 different teams. The Braves, the Astros, and now the Rangers.
Yeah. Shout out Will Smith, I guess.
Fuck Will Smith. Bruce Bochy, though, the manager of the Rangers, he was already a Hall of Famer. He won 3 rings in San Francisco and has won multiple pennants all over the place. And now he's just putting himself further up the list of all-time managers. Him, his ALCS counterpart, Dusty Baker, who just retired, certainly up there as well. But Bruce Bochy, oh my God. He brought San Fran to their first World Series in the city. I think they won one in New York, but in San Francisco, their first World Series, along with 2 more, and brought the Rangers their first. Just amazing. The guy is undeniably a fantastic manager. So yeah, Bruce Bochy, a true legend.
Shout out.
Other thing, the D-back security was guarding the swimming pool so that the Rangers couldn't use it to
Oh
celebrate.
yeah,
That's lame.
smart.
Lame.
If I was a player, that would be the first place I
Yeah.
would go.
Sore loser.
That, yeah, yeah,
The Braves celebrated in the fountain in the outfield.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of talking about. I'll be honest. I watched maybe a couple of innings of this World Series, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I know a lot of people are like, "Why would anybody have watched this World Series?" I personally just didn't have the time. I worked like almost every night that they were playing, but like all the people that are like, "Who wants to watch these 2 markets?" First of all, if you're looking at TV markets for sports, um, Arlington, Texas is like the 5th biggest. And in the MLB, Arizona is like they're like 7th. That's not
Oh
that's
wow,
not small market if you're looking at TV
no,
ratings. Or I think they were somewhere around the 10th or something. But still, not even in the bottom half. So all you fucking like Guardians fans that were talking shit about this World Series, shut the fuck up. But I have no problem. Like I think some writer from Arizona said something about like all the people saying that this World Series is at, all-time low ratings, which they definitely were. They didn't want you to watch the game anyway. Like this isn't for you. This is for the fans of these teams. I think that's
That is
where I
true.
sit on this World Series is like, yeah, maybe it's not the two most popular teams in the league, but this is for the people that wanted to watch it, and they watched it and they enjoyed it. These are two teams that nobody ever thought were going to make it.
Yeah.
Nobody thought these two teams would be here, but they did. And a World Series is a World Series. I don't care who their opponent was. I don't care how many people watched the games. This entire Rangers team, it will now have a ring. There will be next season, we will have to hear every single week, the reigning World Series champions. They're going to play a billion games on TBS, a billion games on Fox, and a billion games on Sunday Night Baseball throughout the season, whether they're good or not.
Yep.
But you get that luxury when you are a World Series champion. And the same goes for
Indeed.
the Diamondbacks because the Phillies got so much attention last year for losing the World Series. And it was positive attention.
Yeah.
So I think the Diamondbacks will be just fine next year as well.
No, that's well said. In my opinion, I understand ratings being down because like we said, like it's not, these are both top 10 big markets, but it's not like the societal, I guess, like big markets of baseball is kind of like what they're getting at. Despite that, like there are so many fun players on both of these teams. Like I really, I was kind of in the same boat as you, got busy with school and work, so I wasn't really able to keep up with this World Series either, but like this wasn't a bad one at all. Maybe
No.
it would have been better if the Diamondbacks had won more games, but still, like their talent was on display.
Yeah.
And that's I think what was more important for me. But yeah, both of these teams, like it's just cool that they even got here to play each other.
Agreed.
It's kind of where
I think the stories that come out of this World Series are much better. And like, once again, to the people that are like, why would I want to watch this? Why would you not want to watch Corey Seager and Marcus Semien? And yes, Adolis Garcia got hurt, but Adolis Garcia play against Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte and Zach Gallen. Evan Longoria. Dude, there's a guy to watch for everybody in this series.
Yeah.
That's kind of my closing statements on it. But congratulations to the Texas Rangers. I don't know a single one of your fans, but I know they're out there, and yeah, they won the World Series. So now, as of today, as we're recording, everybody that is supposed to be a free agent is a free agent. They can still talk to their team, their former team, I guess, regularly, but they cannot discuss money with any other clubs. I believe by Monday, club options, team options, player options, all that stuff will be. I think that's the deadline is Monday. So all that will have to be figured out. And then I believe free agency gets started in the next couple of weeks. Sunday we'll get the Gold Glove. I think the Silver Slugger will come out later next week. And then I think the MLB Awards will be announced soon. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll get the Rookies of the Year on November 13th, the Managers of the Year on November 14th, Cy Young on the 15th, and MVP on the 16th. So
there you go.
There is still...
That's weird that they break it up like that.
Yeah. Baseball does whatever the fuck they want, man.
Yeah. Oh my god. How about oh my gosh. You've
Rob
said his
Manfred?
name so many. Yeah, the voice cracking. He's a fucking clown, dude.
He's a mouse bitch. That's what he is. He's a little bitch. He's a mouse. He's the worst commissioner in sports.
Oh man.
I love the play. I love the pitch clock. There you go, Rob. Is that what you want? Is that what you want now? I love the pitch clock. I love the pace of
I do
play.
too.
You still suck
I
at
do
your
too.
job.
Yeah.
And fuck all the owners. That's where the hate should be going. Rob Manfred's
Yeah.
just their puppet. Um, I still hate him. Don't get that twisted. He's still a bitch.
For sure.
Yeah, Rob Manfred confirmed. Mouse bitch. Um, yeah, I don't know what the deal is. And also, like, all the MLB awards are through the Baseball Writers Association. So whatever.
A little
And
bit.
they don't want to make a
Yeah.
show out of it because who the fuck would watch that? Nobody watches the draft. Barely anybody watches baseball. Let's be honest.
No, no. Come on.
If we're gonna be honest here, I watch the NFL draft front to back. I pay attention to every round. I have never paid attention past the second round of the MLB.
Yeah.
And I think the only time I've ever watched, like, I'll probably watch the MVP announcement if I'm free, just because I think Acuna's going to win. Only time I've ever watched the MVP announcement was when Freddie Freeman was in it in 2020.
Oh wow.
So, like, it's the kind of thing where, like, it'll hit my timeline quickly.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to
No,
watch
like
like MLB Network guys be like, "Way to go, Acuna! Can we talk to your translator?" I don't care.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, that's the MLB season. It's over. But there's plenty of things that we can talk about. We'll start brainstorming some ideas, some lists probably. Will come out of this. Well, of course, you know, free agency moves. I think trades are allowed to start happening pretty soon as well. We'll have the winter meetings in December. That's when a lot of things start flaring up. So a lot of trades come around that time, December, January. So there is plenty to look forward to for the for MLB. But for now, the 2023 season is concluded.
Dude, remember how much fun it was covering Carlos Correa's situation?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna get to do it again. Not the best off season for free agents, but Shohei Ohtani. We will be the Ohtani trackers this spring
Yeah.
or this winter. So look out for that. But yeah, we'll have a whole conversation about free agents and everything else throughout the next month of covering baseball. But let's talk about a sport that couldn't be more different. If I had to put two sports that are completely different, I would say soccer and baseball are the most different. Let's get into the Premier League for the weekend. We'll start with sneaky good matchup. I don't even know if it's sneaky good. These are just two teams that are close in the table. Brentford, West Ham. I don't know. I don't know how to feel because West Ham is going to be missing Paqueta and Alvarez.
Really?
Yeah, I believe they're both suspended.
Oh, okay. I was about to say because they both played in the EPL Cup or the EFL Cup. Sorry, on the weekday. But I think my factor here is West Ham United are coming off of a 1-0 loss to Everton, out of all teams.
Yeah, and
Brentford are coming off of beating Chelsea, who were, actually had a little bit of some decent form there. A 2-0 victory, by the way, too. And it was typical Chelsea, another game where it was completely dominated by us, just had a lot of shots that flew out of the stadium, basically. Very, very infuriating game. But Brentford, they held their defense well, and I think they're going to do the same thing against West Ham. Especially with those, their midfield's kind of torn apart there with the suspensions. But, you have guys like Kudus, who's going to be there. James Ward-Prowse is still there, and Susek is still there. So you have the depth. It's just I don't know if that depth's going to come together against Brentford, who are coming off of a very, very good win.
Yeah, I don't know. I think West Ham is in a weird spot. They're definitely hitting a bit of a slump. Early in the season, they were sitting top 4 for like a couple of weeks.
Yep.
They've just entirely tanked, though. Recent weeks. Obviously, they beat Arsenal in the AFL Cup, which I don't think Arsenal wanted to win. That
No.
they have bigger things on their plate. But
Yep.
yeah, you lose to Everton, you lose to Olympiacos in the Europa League, you lose to Villa bad a couple of weeks ago, and I just I don't know what's happened to West Ham in these couple of weeks, but whatever it is not good at all.
No, no, not at all. And I think, a lot of it, I guess, in my opinion, just stems from not having a striker. Like Mikel Antonio would be great off the bench.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be your guy though. I kind of like where they're at defensively ish. I think maybe you could argue that they
Yeah.
could sign somebody there. Alphonse Areola, I think, is a great goalie for them. Obviously, don't need midfield, which that leaves replacing Mikel Antonio.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where I'm at with West Ham. Um, Definitely a team that can get back on track, though. They were serviceable with Mikel Antonio. He's not the worst. He's just
No.
not a sure option. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, with Brentford, they kind of are in interesting news. They just set a price tag for even Tony not too long ago, which is kind of interesting. Looking to deal him out, especially with me being a Chelsea fan, because I've absolutely fucking had it with Nicholas Jackson. But
Yeah, it's fair.
anyway, sorry, I got a little bit aggressive there. But
At least you have Cole
yeah,
Palmer.
a cam, not a striker, but
I know.
a cam. But
He's a redeeming factor of this team that
he
needs
is.
some.
Maybe you know what? Fuck it. Why doesn't Nkuku come back and we just run a center forward with the same lineup that we have been running and don't even play a striker?
I don't hate that.
just have the wingers and Nkuku
Yeah.
attack.
The midfield can score goals.
It can. They definitely can. But anyway, back to Brentford, West Ham. Like I said, Brentford's the hot team right now, and they're catching West Ham at a very, very good time. I'm going to go 1-0 Brentford.
Yeah. I definitely think Brentford's going to win. The question is, do they give up a goal?
Yeah.
I'm going to say they don't. They're running on 2 clean sheets straight. Yeah, I'm going to go Brentford. I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0 Brentford. Nice.
Yeah.
All
right.
to that 2-0 for Brentford.
Yeah. Our next game, though, Newcastle, Arsenal. Big matchup.
Ooh. Yes, big
matchup. Standalone on, I believe, on Saturday. But, yeah, I'm scared a little bit. I'll be honest.
Oh, come.
I am. But redeeming factor here, Gabriel Jesus hurt again. Might be big.
Not good for us.
No. And then I believe Partey got hurt in the EFL Cup game. Who cares? He doesn't really play at all. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I think Newcastle is settling back in. Kicked the shit out of Man U midweek. Put that out there. But like the 2-2 draw against Wolves last weekend was bad, which I will say that was kind of when I was questioning our ability to come back from the Sandro Tonali stuff, because that had been going on for like that entire week. Now that he's gone, I think we're starting to figure things out. Like the lineup that we ran against Manchester United, though not like our best lineup, at all. Joelinton at striker is weird. I didn't understand that one.
Yeah,
Not a fan. He is a big center mid, so I get it. Gives me a lot of Kai Havertz at striker vibes, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
But like Lewis Hall had a great game. Thanks.
Yeah.
But like
You're
Joe
welcome.
Willock looks really good. Livramento's been playing much better when he gets in the games. Anthony Gordon wasn't great midweek, but he's been pretty solid for this team. I believe. Okay, Barnes still isn't back yet. Neither is Jacob Murphy. But those two are coming back soon. I think it gives this team a little more energy. My issue is that if Alexander Isaac isn't healthy for this game, I don't trust us to score goals with who else we have out.
Callum Wilson put 2 past Wolves.
I know. I still don't trust him.
That's fair, especially against Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a good defense.
For me, it comes down to I don't know if this is like fair to say about Newcastle, and you can definitely correct me, but it seems to me like they're still trying to rely on the defense that they had last season,
Yeah.
and it's just not. It's not as they're not preventing as many goals basically as they have.
Like Nick Pope has been good in goal. I'll give him that. It's the games when the defense just breaks it out, like just gets totally broken open, that we can't do anything. All of our worst results, I can 100% say, have been on the defense.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And maybe I guess a lack of offense as well. Could you say that, like, to not compensate for the defense?
I don't know if that's quite been the case, because like it's not like we're not scoring goals. We're scoring quite a few goals. We have we're tied for most goals in the league with Aston Villa right now. Like we're outscoring Brighton, who was flying to start the season.
Yeah,
I think we're scoring enough goals. It's just we're dropping points, especially in these 2 draws, both being 2-2 draws that we've had against Wolves and against West Ham this season. Those ones are the ones that hurt you. The ones where the offense plays well and the defense loses you the game. Because that West Ham game, we go up 2-0. They should have held that. The defense should have held that win. They lost it. Against Wolves, similar thing. I think we ended up coming back against Wolves. I didn't get to watch that whole game. But nonetheless, like, that result shouldn't happen. They ended up coming back, of course. Huang scored in the 71st minute to come back in that game. And it's like the defense, for some reason, once we get the lead, they struggle. Because a lot of our very good wins this season are either just so many goals that the other team can't keep up, or it's a late winner just over and over again. And I'm fine with that. I have no issues with winning games. The problem is how sloppy the losses are, especially on the defense.
I like that. Shout out Sean Longstaff, though. You said it on the last podcast. Y'all are going to be fine, with him instead of Tonali, and y'all are. He's been phenomenal. I would almost like to see Newcastle get rid of Joe Ellington and have Tonali replace Joe Ellington and leave Sean Longstaff in there. He's earned it.
Yeah.
Like
Sean Longstaff made his 150th appearance for Newcastle in that midweek match against Man U and was the captain.
Love it. You just love to see it.
That's awesome.
Love to see it. I think to give a score prediction, I think it's going to be 2-1 Arsenal. Newcastle has a better defense than Arsenal, but Arsenal's defense isn't that bad, and Arsenal, I think, have a better offense than Newcastle.
Okay.
Overall.
I think
so 2-1 Arsenal.
I think on par with some of our recent performances. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
I think especially if Gabriel Jesus is out, they definitely lose a little bit of goal-scoring ability. Obviously, Nketiah was absurd last week against Sheffield, right?
Yep, Sheffield. 5-0 win.
Callum Wilson was good last week, and I do still think that we have some upside to this team despite the injuries and, of course, Tonali's suspension. There's still definitely redeeming qualities there that I feel confident I can rely on. So, yeah, I'm going to go 2-2.
All right.
All right. Our final match, though, is a standalone game on Monday. Tottenham Hotspur versus Chelsea.
Ooh.
What are we thinking? Obviously, you're not feeling too good about Chelsea at the moment, but you beat Blackburn Rovers. They used to be good a long time ago.
It's very telling how bad Chelsea is that we're actually pushing for this fucking meaningless cup. It's well, I mean, there's no Champions League. There's probably no chance to win the Premier League
Yeah,
anymore
there's
at this
nothing
point
else to
either.
play for other than
There
the
literally
FA
isn't.
Cup.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I will always love Chelsea's likelihood of beating Tottenham though. I will always favor that. We seem to always play Tottenham super hard. But to kind of more talk about Tottenham side though, Heung-min Son at striker has revitalized his career. I want to take back
Yeah.
everything I've said because I really laid into this kid. We both really laid into him. But yeah, trying Richarlison out left is just a pity attempt to try to fit this kid in anywhere. He just has,
Yeah.
really been
I think
struggling.
Perisic's injury has really hurt them, at least on the left.
Yeah, people really do forget how good of a player Perisic still is. He's
Yeah.
amazing. Um, But yeah, on Chelsea's side, I don't have I genuinely, Grayson, have no clue. I don't know why Nicholas Jackson is starting over Armando Broja. I don't know why we're still trying him. It's not like Nicholas Jackson isn't effective. He just can't score.
Yeah.
And that's what we need right now because Noni Madueke and Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer can do what Nicholas Jackson does in chance creation. We just need that finisher. Which is why even Tony or Victor Osimhen will come to us in January, but that's aside from the point.
Yeah.
But the midfield, I love it. Conor Gallagher is the new captain of Chelsea, and I couldn't be more happier. He's aggressive, just like Moises Caicedo. Axel Disasi's back. Disasi, I think. Yeah, he was back last week against Brentford. Obviously, didn't change anything. What really is hurting me right now, Grayson, is no Reece James and no Chilwell. That
Yeah.
is killing
I
Chelsea
fit
right now.
Reece James is back though now, right?
I believe so.
Believe he's going to be back in the lineup this weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, Chilwell's still going to be out till like at least the rest of this month. But it looks like Chukwuemeka is coming back soon, which is nice because he has played well, or at least he did up until that injury. That's a nice guy to have back. Of course, and Nkuku's coming back soon. But
And
like,
Cuckoo, I think, has been training with the team
yeah.
again, so that's always good.
Broja's doubtful, so I guess he's a little bit banged up. The same goes for Mudryk. I feel like at least with how Mudryk's been playing, I'm glad to see him playing very well. He's got to
Yeah.
get back in that lineup quickly, or he's going
He
to quickly
does.
lose that confidence again.
No, you're exactly right because it took that international break with him scoring for Ukraine to pretty much I guess give him that spark, and
Yeah.
it's really been amazing to watch him, and I respect Chelsea for not giving up on him. There were times where I wish we would have, but he seems to be fine, and with Chelsea, it's still that same situation. I see the blueprint; it's just not happening this season.
Yeah.
We're too inconsistent to be effective in this league.
Yeah. Honestly, if there's anything that they could do with Mudryk, the only thing I see is let him finish out this season, or even let him finish out this half of the year and send him out on loan to a good team in Germany. That seems to be the best route for everyone. It's just go play for Leipzig or Dortmund or Union Berlin for that matter, and just do something.
Hey, we loaned Callum Hudson-Odoi to Leverkusen.
Yeah, Leverkusen as well. Didn't even think about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of options for what you can do with Mudryk, even if once guys start coming back from injury, because there's going to be a lot of spaces filled back up, and formation changing once you have Chilwell and James back.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of differences that come to this lineup throughout the season. Hopefully they're good, for your sake, but I think for the moment, I still think Tottenham's gonna just kind of beat y'all up a little bit.
And you know what? That's a fair assumption. I think with it being London Derby, I think the best result for Chelsea is probably a draw in this one. I'm gonna go 1-1 draw.
Yeah. With Tottenham being at home, not that it changes anything because it's all in London. It's not a far train ride. But
no.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tottenham 2-0. Yeah.
God, another 2-0 would just Send
Sorry,
me,
man.
man.
I'm sorry. It is
I hope.
very much what Chelsea does
Yeah,
at the moment.
it literally.
Is 2-0. Let's talk real quick, just a little bit about UCL Matchday 4. So it'll all be the same matchups from 2 weeks ago, just flipped to flipping the home and away side. Um, there's a couple of good matchups, not anything fantastic, but I do have a good sleeper that I like this week.
Okay, let's hear your sleeper.
My sleeper is Atletico Madrid versus Celtic.
Oh yeah, they're coming off of a really heated game
Yeah, a
not
2-2
too long
draw
ago.
2 weeks ago, and I like Celtic. We've talked about them. I like their team. I've been seeing a lot more of them now. I've gotten to watch a little bit of their games in the in the Champions League so far. I like them, and Atletico Madrid has not been that good. Um, just kind of in general,
Yeah,
they haven't been fantastic in La Liga. They're certainly not bad. It's Atletico Madrid. Um, like they're third right now in the table. Um, but it just doesn't seem like they're as good as they maybe should be.
that's fair. Yeah. I think if I have two sneaky matchups, Grayson. One's going to be Dortmund Newcastle. Newcastle do not need to be losing to this year's Dortmund team, which they did the last Champions League match day. I want to see Newcastle come back in this one big time.
Yeah,
And then my other one, I think I'm kind of leaning towards like we like the Napoli Union Berlin, but I think I'm going to go Galatasaray Bayern,
I've got
or
them as
honestly
well.
Copenhagen Man United.
Yeah, I've got Galatasaray Bayern. Bayern's in a weird spot, coming off an 8-0 victory in the league and then a 2-1 loss in the DFB Pokal to a Division 3 team in Germany.
That celebrated like it was the greatest
Oh my
moment of
god.
their life.
Yeah, it looked like it looked like the whole stadium was about to fall. They
Yeah.
were going insane.
Yep. Um, but back to Bayern Galatasaray though. I'm actually kind of surprised that Bayern hasn't even drawn in this group. Like shout out Bayern. This
Yeah.
this is not the easiest group to go undefeated in,
No.
and they're perfect right now. Um,
I think
but you know,
Galatasaray's got a shot to at least draw.
Galatasaray's a big shot. Yeah, big shot. Because like, let's be honest, Galatasaray are low key kind of stacked this season.
Yeah.
Like they really are. um, and especially like even if I think Copenhagen could shake things up against Manchester United. I
Yeah.
really do.
Definitely.
Really, really do.
Yeah, and then of course Dortmund Newcastle. It just
Yeah. How about Linz beating out
yeah.
Sevilla, the Europa League Kings? I mean, that's what they're playing for. I think you're right.
I know.
Um,
I know they are.
Union Berlin and Benfica don't even have a win yet,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous.
Those are
The only
two
other team
teams
that
that I would expect to have won some games.
yeah, me too, especially Benfica. But yeah, just a kind of a bizarre Champions League.
Yeah.
Like I would really, since Chelsea's not in it, I am like in full Galatasaray mode. I want to see how far they can go. I'm pulling for them heavily
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
Champions
when you're
League.
looking at the groups, it's like, okay, Union Berlin, Benfica haven't won any games. Like the only other team that hasn't even gotten a point is Antwerp.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Like I guess
ridiculous.
when it comes down to it, in Group G, Young Boys and Red Star Belgrade drew against each other. So that's I don't think that counts.
Yeah,
They probably agreed before the game. They were like, "You want points, right? All right, we're both getting a point here because Leipzig
Yeah,
and Man City are going to run away with that one." Um,
yeah,
Milan also doesn't have a win. AC Milan, which is wild.
can't
Two
believe
draws
that.
and a loss. But yeah, it's just it is an interesting Champions. Like Feyenoord is ahead of Atletico Madrid in Group E.
Yeah, yeah. How are you
Because
feeling about Newcastle where they sit now? You hopeful?
I guess if we can get the win over Dortmund in this match, I think it's big. because
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna win a second time around against PSG, especially in France.
And Milan would still be a like, okay, let's say Newcastle, they have to beat AC Milan to make it to the next round. That's still a sketchy game.
Yeah, no, it's
In my
definitely in question because I have a feeling, we see PSG probably beat Milan again,
Yeah, I'm thinking so
or
too.
not again. I get, or yeah. They beat
No,
him
they've
last
already
time.
played them once.
Yeah.
Yep.
They beat him last time. Um, yeah, I think PSG probably does it again, and then I'm pretty confident that they'd beat Dortmund as well.
Yeah. Yep,
So
me too.
I think PSG probably for certain is going to end up taking the top. Whether they draw or beat Newcastle, they'll take the top spot. But yeah, I don't fully trust Newcastle to beat AC Milan to move on. So I kind of need Dortmund and Milan to draw again.
Yeah, that would be best case scenario for y'all.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's anything else you want to talk about in the UCL? Kind of keeping it
Uh,
short just for time reasons.
yeah, I mean, no, I think it's cool. Real Sociedad are like almost perfect in their group.
Yeah, they
Kind
look
of with
good.
Inter, they do look good. Other than that, no, I think this Champions League is a little bit different. I feel like we have a lot of kind of like newer small teams that are in it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what happens once it gets into the knockout rounds.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very much looking forward to that. All right, let's get into questions time. As per usual, we have 3 questions, all based on the different sports that we talk about, and yeah, we're gonna run through them. Are we still doing random order?
Yes, and I would like it if you started.
Okay, I got you. Who's the best quarterback this season in the NFL?
That's a very tough question.
Yeah,
Um, hmm, damn. I know. Isn't Herbert like 13 touchdowns and like 4 picks?
he's been decent. Yeah, he's been pretty good.
Um, I don't really want to say Mahomes. You definitely can't say Kirk anymore. Is it Lamar?
I think it's between 3, maybe 4. I think Lamar's
Who are
definitely
you?
in that conversation. I think Tua is in that
Yeah, Tua.
conversation. I think Hurts is in the conversation. Um, and then Justin Herbert.
Yeah, no, I would probably either give it to Lamar or Herbert right now.
Yeah,
But I think Lamar automatically trumps Herbert because you have to associate quarterbacks with winning, I feel
yeah,
like,
I agree.
right? So, and that's something that Herbert, not because of him, it hadn't been going to,
Yeah,
they haven't been getting wins.
yeah. I think to
So,
me, it's really Lamar and Tua at the top in my mind.
yeah. Um,
Um, so yeah, that was a tough question. I couldn't think of anything else. Surprisingly, since the NFL is what is the hottest thing right now, and I cannot think of questions for it.
yeah.
Easily thought of the other ones though.
Do you want MLB or Premier League?
Let's go Premier League.
So, I was watching a podcast today, and this is something that I actually didn't even realize, but Frank Lampard from center mid had 6 consecutive seasons with 20 goals.
That's insane.
And both of us know like the kind of midfielder he was because he was also a great
Yeah.
passer. He's Chelsea's all-time leading goal scorer, not Didier Drogba, which still blows my mind. What would a player like Frank Lampard go for today? What is a number for Frank Lampard in his prime?
Like in like modern day against the same
Yeah.
opponents. Uh I think. Are we saying just in the Premier League? Or are we talking all competitions?
I'm talking like how like a transfer fee. How much
Oh,
would
oh,
he
oh,
be
oh,
bought?
oh, oh, oh.
My bad. Like how much would he sell
So
for today?
a guy that puts up 20 goals and like what 12 assists.
Yeah, and he's a holding midfielder, so he can
Yeah,
pass and he can defend. He's just the package.
I think he goes for significantly more than Sandro Tonali was sold for. So that's over 75 million euros. We're
Yeah.
past that. Um, what age are we saying he's at? That's a big factor.
We'll say 27, 28.
Okay, so in his prime, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, not much more upside past that. So I don't think we're looking at anything too outrageous. I'd probably say 120 million if he's
That
27
is
years old.
exactly what I was
Yeah,
saying. Yeah, that's
120
exactly what I
million
was
euros probably. Because like Bellingham was what 100, just over.
Yeah. That was without the scoring though. They didn't know what kind of
Yeah,
monster they were getting.
yeah, and he's
Oh my
also
god, we
super young. We're gonna talk
dude.
about it.
Okay. Okay, perfect. I'll pump the brakes. I just realized that we went the entire episode without talking about Jude Bellingham in the El Clasico, and I was like, we can't
Yeah,
not talk about
I
that.
want to bring him
Um,
up after I bring up my soccer question. So my soccer question is: should Messi have won Ballon d'Or over Erling Haaland?
no, absolutely
Okay,
not. I'm sorry. I love the story and it was cool. Like the picture with Messi and his rings from Adidas and like
sick.
the names of the rings and what all of them mean, just so badass. I feel like the aesthetic of Messi winning it was perfect, but it was undeserved.
Well, it's going to be his last, so that's good, I guess.
Yeah, but Erling Haaland isn't Ballon d'Or right now, in my opinion.
Oh, for next season, no, he's not.
Yeah, for like the next one. So
Yeah,
I feel
Jude
like you
Bellingham
may
is.
have. Yeah, right now it goes to Jude Bellingham,
He
but
took home
yeah, no,
the Copa trophy, I believe, at the ceremonies. Yeah,
what is the
I
Cope
believe it's
Trophy?
a youth, like a young player one.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, no, it definitely should have been Erling Haaland. What do you think?
Yeah, I do too. Look, like I think when you look at like goals, what do they consider it? Like goals created or whatever. Combining assists and goals, they had similar numbers, um, which is fine. But for Erling Haaland to do it at his age, in his first season in the Premier League, doing it in the Premier League, it is enough to be absurd because of the level of competition that we've gotten used to there. Um,
Yep.
and for Messi, it was like it didn't seem like in his other Ballon d'Or seasons, or even for Ronaldo's Ballon d'Or seasons, that they've ever been involved in such controversy with their club.
That's a big point. Yeah.
And I get that it's not about headlines, but if it's not about headlines, then why the fuck does the World Cup matter?
Yeah.
Because that's all. Like I get it. Amazing performance, huge, career changing, everything. Legacy is entirely different now that he has the World Cup. All of that,
Yeah.
but he's the first World Cup winner to win the Ballon d'Or.
What?
Not like in the same season type thing.
Oh,
First
yeah,
time
yeah.
that
Okay.
somebody has won the World Cup in a year and actually won the Ballon d'Or.
Hmm.
That's absurd.
That is
So
absurd.
obviously they don't value it that much. If team or if players in the past have won it and not and been the best player for their team in that World Cup and not won Ballon d'Or, they obviously don't value it that much. So why did it get so much value for Messi, who, yes, he was good in Liga, wasn't amazing, wasn't great in Europe.
Mhm.
What's the? I don't get it. Holland was great in everything. I think what hurt him was not playing in the World Cup,
Yeah. Yep.
which you can't take a guy down for his nationality. Sorry,
No.
sorry.
No, you
It's him
can't.
and Martin Odegaard alone.
Yeah.
With like who? Like El Yunusi? Like what the fuck?
Oh, you got a drink.
Sorry.
um, no, you're exactly right. I
Yeah.
think Erling Haaland should have won it.
Oh, but we can talk about Jude
So
Bellingham real quick, because he won the
Oh
Copa
yeah,
Trophy, which is presented to the best performing player worldwide under the age of 21. Um, that's how that works.
yeah. Okay.
So Bellingham won it this year. I think. Uh, yeah. Okay. So the past one, Gavi won it last year. Over Kamavinga and Musiala. Pedri won it the year before that. Nobody won it in 2020. De Ligt won it in 2019, and
Wow.
Mbappe edged out Christian Pulisic in 2018.
What edged out Christian
No,
Pulisic?
it was 110 points to 31.
I was
Comparatively,
about to
De Ligt
say.
beat Jadon Sancho 58 to 49, and Gavi beat Eduardo Camavinga 59-51. So no, he did not edge him out, but Pulisic was number 2, just ahead of Justin Kluivert.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
shit crop in 2018. Good lord.
Yeah. Did you see the El Clasico?
I did not get to watch most of it, but it was ridiculous.
I. It is cemented now. Like if you didn't believe it before, believe it now, motherfucker.
Oh
Jude
my god.
Bellingham is incredible. And just think about what it's going to look like with England now. Oh my god, it's going to be so
Yeah,
unfair. But yeah, he had like Gavi or Pedri. I honestly I get Gavi and Pedri
I
mixed
do
up a
as
lot.
well.
And I think it was Gavi, but he had Gavi like crying after the game. Like he was talking shit, scoring goals from 4 billion yards outside of the box. Like in an El Clasico, it doesn't affect him anymore. 20 years old doesn't matter.
He
Does not
is
matter. I think
literally like I don't think I've ever watched a 20-year-old play at this level. Is
in any
that
sport.
fair to say?
Yeah, no, it's 100% fair to say.
Like I don't think Mbappe
Um,
was playing quite like this at Monaco or even in his early years at PSG. I know he was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. The way that Jude
yeah,
Bellingham is playing is literally unprecedented, especially for his position.
yeah, he's 13 appearances, 13 goals between the Champions League and
Yeah.
La Liga.
And he has what, 8 assists?
Actually only three
Oh, okay.
between La Liga and Champions League. He has
Gotcha.
two in La
Gotcha.
Liga, one in UEFA. But he's 10 matches, 10 goals in La Liga, and 3 matches, 3 goals in Champions League.
Yeah.
He's guaranteed to score at least once,
A game. It's
at
crazy.
least one time. But anyway, enough of Jude Bellingham. We just had to
Yeah.
talk about that El Clasico performance.
Yeah.
So my football question, I originally was going to ask you, what do you want the Falcons to draft? But we're going to save that one for later.
Okay.
We're going to put that one in the back pocket. Um, Jordan Addison currently has 7 touchdowns right now. The record is Randy Moss with 17 in 1998. Will Jordan Addison get close or break it?
No, I think he'll probably cap out at he'll probably slow down when Jefferson comes back as well. And with the new quarterback, not going to be throwing the ball as much. Not going to be throwing a deep ball as much either, which will hurt him. I got a feeling it'll probably be at like 12
Yeah, I
at
mean
the end of the
that's
season.
probably fair with your current situation, but
Like
just
that's
like,
probably like looking like optimistic 12.
you think so?
Yeah,
I don't know. I think he can get 14.
he
That's
could.
my cap.
Could.
Could
I don't think so.
7 more. Jordan Addison though, like it, we just gotta like reflect on the season he's had so far. Touchdown machine since week 1.
Yeah.
Really, he's been amazing.
Yeah. He's done
Been
a good
absolutely
job.
amazing. All right, your turn. MLB.
Yeah. Who was your favorite player to watch this season now that it's concluded?
Wow. Who's somebody that I just harped on all year long? Hmm. Damn, that's a good question. I could go easy and just like pick one of the Braves. I think no, I'm gonna stay biased. I'm gonna go either Anthony Volpe, right? Like watching him kind of develop the little bit that he did, or Michael King when we made him starting pitcher.
Yeah. That's nice.
those are my, those are
Yeah.
my two. My two. What? How about you?
Um I'm gonna go Adley Rutschman was definitely one of my favorites to watch, just to continue to
Yeah.
watch like that kind of talent grow. Um, I think Felix Bautista as well. That Orioles team was very entertaining. So Felix Bautista was up there. Just watching a shutdown closer is unlike anything else.
Yeah. True. Corbin Carroll for me too. That was one
Yeah,
I
Corbin
forgot all season
Carroll,
long.
super fun to pay attention to. Um,
Yep.
Corey Seager, once he came back from injury, was ridiculous.
Yep.
Um, he was a fantastic one to watch. So, yeah, obviously there's quite a few. Obviously, Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, all that shit. Marcelo
Yeah.
Zuna, guy's a Silver Slugger finalist. DH is insane after how he started this
Yep.
season. So yeah, I have tons of players I liked to watch, but yeah.
All right. Now it's last question here. Me with the MLB. So give me a quick rundown. How do you think the Diamondbacks and the Rangers will look next season?
Um, I don't think they'll both be in the World Series next year. Is that? I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think the Rangers will probably win a similar amount of games, maybe a little less, maybe like 85.
I think the Diamondbacks win more.
I do too.
Yeah.
A lot of times, what happens, just historically, the team that wins the World Series is going to lose players. Definitely. Some pitching, somebody is going to leave the Rangers. It's going to hurt them a little bit.
Yep.
Teams that lose the World Series go out, find more talent to get better, and hopefully go back. Does it always happen? No. Do they have better seasons? Most of the time, yeah. I think the Diamondbacks probably win maybe a similar number. Like they won 84 in the regular season last year, or this past year. Next year, they're probably only up to like 88 or 90. They're still playing a
Yeah.
hard fucking division.
That is true. The Dodgers are going to still be good.
Yeah, and the Padres could be better. Like the pitching turned it around a little bit later in the year. They went on a huge hot streak to finish the season. They were never close to making the playoffs all year. All of a sudden,
Wasn't it?
they got eliminated at the same time as the Giants.
Wasn't it without Manny Machado too for a lot of that?
Yeah,
Right? Didn't
Machado
he
missed a
want to
lot
get?
of the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish missed like the last month and a half. Like they were great without some key players.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard for the Diamondbacks, but I trust this team. Corbin Carroll probably sees a sophomore slump, I think. I know he started to kind of see a decline in the second half of the season, but he's going to win that the NL Rookie of the Year, and I don't think that's good for a player. I don't like saying that,
Oh,
but like it happens. Michael Harris was not good this year. At least
yeah.
not playing up to the level he should have been. Julio Rodriguez had a quiet fucking first half.
Yeah.
He really
Turn
stepped
it
up
up.
late in the year. I can't take that away
Yeah.
from him. But super quiet first half. I think something similar probably happens to Corbin Carroll. The same goes for Gunnar Henderson, who probably wins it in the AL.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
1 year in the books
1 year, baby.
and 99 of these episodes in the books. So make sure you guys tune in for episode 100 on Monday. How insane is that to say? 100 of these episodes. It is crazy. Yeah, like we said at the beginning, thank you guys for listening. And thank you guys for liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, following on all the social media platforms that are displayed below us right now. All of them. And yeah, overall, just thank you guys. So make sure you guys are doing all those things that I just thanked you for, because if you haven't, then I'm not thankful for you doing that. Luke wore sunglasses for the entire episode, so shout out to him. I'm sure it was very hard to read your computer screen.
Actually, not really.
No,
Not really.
not too
But
bad.
it is like the filter that it has put on me. I have had these on for too long, and I'm probably doing permanent damage to my brain.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
switch
You
out.
also wear glasses, so you're probably more used to that feeling. I cannot wear sunglasses for that long, especially indoors.
What?
I can't wear
As a
glasses.
baseball player,
Yeah, I know, but I only wore them when I was hitting. Really.
really?
Yeah, I wore them when I was hitting because of color blindness, but that's not a story for the podcast. All right. Make sure you guys are liking, following, subscribing, rating 5 stars, doing everything. I tell you to do it every time. And make sure, most importantly, that you're sharing with the loved ones, the hated ones, the useless ones. I don't care. Any of them. Share it with them. I've told you this before. Put some headphones on your dog. Let him listen to the podcast. No cats allowed, though. Cats can't listen to this podcast. I'm sorry.
What? Why not?
It's just, I'm not a cat guy. And I don't think cats like podcasts. Dogs proven like podcasts.
Okay.
Yeah, proven by me. Don't have a dog right now, but it's proven. All right, that's enough. I'm delaying us too much. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for a year, and cheers to 100. Peace.